station. Record on her way to goal, telling herself, basically, you can rest when you're 80. We are not rested yet. We have more curling coming your way. So let's get back to Cortina.
Say we're watching. The fire.
In, so they have to follow up on all those leads, whether it takes them back out at the scene, out in the desert, wherever it takes them. They're following up on those leads, and we don't know how many are coming in, but in these types of cases, many leads do come in, and they have to, follow up on all of them.
Many homes and businesses in Pima County are remote and far apart. Talk about the challenges for law enforcement in light of this case.
Well, it's difficult. The closest store to the home was about, a good 5 minutes away. So I'm sure they looked into that as far as cameras to and from that area. The cameras are at the intersection, so it's very isolated in certain areas up there. I grew up in Tucson, so I know it was all desert at one point many years ago, and now there's homes everywhere, but it's still pretty rural. A lot of it's very dark at night, and very few street lights. So I imagine if they were able to see anything on street or on the ring cameras, it would have been very limited due to the darkness.
And we've seen authorities close and then reopen the crime scene around Nancy Guthrie's house multiple times. What potential developments in the case would lead them to close it, then reopen it, close and reopen it?
They're following up on leads. Depending on how many leads are coming in, whether or not they have to check all the boxes in these types of cases. So they have a lot of fresh minds with all the agencies involved now, and so those leads that come in, they have to go back out. It's not uncommon for them to return to the scene of a situation like this and reopen the crime scene, take back up, and look around again to see what they can find.
They were looking in the septic tank outside Nancy Guthrie's home, I believe yesterday, on Sunday. What would they be looking for? Would they be looking for her, just to explore the idea that maybe there wasn't a kidnapping at all? Like, why would they be looking at her?
Well, it's questionable. I mean, you're hearing a lot of things on the media, whether or not it's a true kidnapping. So based on that, they have to make sure that they check everywhere and within reason, within closeness to the home in question here. So they're going back out and checking into any tunnels, if there's any old mines in the area. You never know. It's you don't want to think about that, and you have to follow up on this. Any openings, any caves out there. It's pretty rural. It's pretty rocky in certain areas. So there's many places that something can be found, and that's what they're looking for. They're going back out and trying to find whatever they can. Any leads, any trails that they didn't search, so they're going to be going back out again and again.
Mr. Jimenez, thank you so much. Appreciate it. The other major story that we're following today, an attorney for Epstein accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell saying that she can clear President Trump's name, but she needs clemency first. That's next.
Great pair of lungs. Shame about your swollen gums. You need parodontax, clinically proven to help reverse all signs of early gum disease. The gum experts.
Running a successful delivery company has taught me something. Growing is leadership too. We have AT&T business, and that's why we're the best.
You said where? There's nothing here.
Just trust me.
You guys are early.
Right. Did you see it through there?
You guys Thursday? I just made some lemonade.
Yeah. It's really warm in here. Like a good one. My phone still works down here. It's crazy.
My dad has never been in better shape. He had a stroke and then passed away. He had a life insurance policy. Ethos.com. In 10 minutes, you can recover with life insurance.
Check your price today at ethos.com.
My moderate to severe Crohn's symptoms kept me out of the picture. With Skyrizi, feel significant symptom relief at 4 weeks. Many people get remission at 12 weeks, at 1 year, and even at 4 years. years.
Don't use allergic. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or vulnerability to fungi may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and TB. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines. Liver problems leading to hospitalization may occur when treated for colitis.
Ask your doctor about Skyrizi.
I got recurring UTIs all the time. Now, before a flush advanced, I have 2 clinically dosed ingredients, D-mannose and whole fruit cranberry, both reduce the risk of recurrent UTIs. And now I have my life back. Try today at Eupora.com.
Florida is calling, and we have the answer. Pregnancy in Florida by GM Homes. Treating 55 plus women in 5 prime Florida locations. Gorgeous new homes from the mid-300s to 2.5 million. World-class resort-style living, 24/7. Huge clubhouses, on-site dining, pickleball, and more. Effortless, low-maintenance living. Valencia, your Florida life is calling. Experience more at ValenciaFlorida.com.
Look, does insurance like the zebra? I just found the perfect policy at the best price for you. We normally tell you insurance and inform you of savings the moment we find it, so you never have to second-guess your policy or your price. Find out how you can save today.
Allergies got you trying every trick? Grab Zyrtec for total relief. It works fast and lasts a full 24 hours. What are you waiting for? Go seize the day with Zyrtec.
Total Beats, America's best-selling Beats brand, is available at Costco. Total Beats Healthy Blood Pressure Soft Chews contain a key ingredient clinically shown to support healthy blood pressure. Take control of your health. Head to Costco and get Total Beats Healthy Blood Pressure Soft Chews today.
We're excited to share our newest sports sample in River, just east of Baker Highway on 126 South. Come celebrate our grand opening at any one of our 7 giant carpet one stores. Register for an opportunity to win $5,000 in our giant flooring game. Exclusive discounts, expert advice, and floor integrations everywhere you step. Giant carpet one, 7 stores strong. Discover one store for your floor.
Total Beats, America's best-selling Beats brand, is available at Costco. Total Beats Healthy Blood Pressure Soft Chews contain a key ingredient clinically shown to support healthy blood pressure. Take control of your health. Head to Costco and get Total Beats Healthy Blood Pressure Soft Chews today.
Our news radio new episode Saturday at 9 on CNN and next day on the CNN app.
Welcome back. We're live in Tucson, Arizona, following the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. We're going to continue to monitor the search and bring you updates. But let's turn to our Law and Justice lead, Ghislaine Maxwell, the convicted child sex trafficker and associate of dead pedophile Jeffrey Epstein, refused to say a word today during an ongoing deposition with the House Oversight Committee. Her lawyer told the committee that Maxwell will not answer questions unless she is granted clemency by President Trump. Let's bring in CNN senior legal analyst Ellie Koenig and CNN special correspondent Jamie Gangel. Ellie, what do you make of this ultimatum delivered by Maxwell and her attorney, Congressman Moskowitz, that it's an obvious quid pro quo?
It's right there on the face of it, Jake. It doesn't get any clearer than that. The proposal is written out this or that. I want a pardon, and in exchange, I will give you exonerating testimony. But the fundamental problem with this offer, Jake, is even if Ghislaine Maxwell and Donald Trump reach this agreement, who on this earth would actually believe Ghislaine Maxwell's testimony? We're talking about a convicted child sex trafficker. We're talking about somebody who is openly begging for a pardon. We're talking about a person in Ghislaine Maxwell who spent 9 hours face-to-face with the Deputy Attorney General of the United States and gave an utterly preposterous, unbelievable account where she said she had done nothing wrong, nobody else had done anything wrong. Maybe Jeffrey Epstein committed a crime, she said, but she's not sure. If you believe that, I don't know what to tell you. So even if this deal were somehow to come to fruition, I don't think it would convince a soul.
Jamie, the president has not ruled out clemency for Maxwell. In fact, if memory serves, he wished her well. If he granted her clemency, if he freed her from prison, this could complicate things further. I imagine that there might be some sort of political fallout for the president, possibly.
Absolutely. Look, to Ellie's point, where is the credibility in all of this? Survivors want accountability. So let's look at what happens if he gives her clemency. This is the one issue where Republican members of the House overwhelmingly only one didn't vote to release the Epstein files. That's because these members of Congress know that this is an issue their constituents care about. So if she pardons her right now, gives her clemency, those Republicans believe it's going to hurt them in the midterms. If they lose the House, then Donald Trump is going to have a lot of political fallout for the next 2 years.
Ellie, does Ghislaine Maxwell have grounds to invoke the Fifth Amendment and refuse to answer questions in an ongoing deposition with the House Oversight Committee? Is there anything Congress can do to overcome that, or does she only need to speak, or does she never need to speak? I mean, is that just how the system works?
There's actually a couple things that Congress can do. So first of all, at the threshold level, yes, she does have a Fifth Amendment right because she has an ongoing, what we call a collateral appeal. She's trying to attack her conviction, get herself a new trial. But first of all, Congress can point out, and I've heard various representatives say this throughout the day, you know, she spoke openly with Todd Blanche, so legally she might have given away the Fifth Amendment privilege. The problem is, they're talking about it, but the only way you can challenge that, if you're a member of the committee, is to take it to court. I've not seen anyone do that. The other option Congress has, they can immunize her. They can say, go ahead, you testify, but now you won't be prosecuted for that. Now, that may be a terrible idea. I don't think I would be on board for that, but that's also a question that I think members of Congress need to be asked. Are you willing to go that far? You issued the subpoena. Do you want to take those next steps to actually get the testimony, or was it just for show?
Jamie, knowing what you know about President Trump, do you see any world where President Trump post midterms, or maybe on his way out the door of the White House, issues Ghislaine Maxwell a pardon or commutation?
I think that's possible, Jake. What do we know? Donald Trump loves the pardon power, and he is very sensitive about the Epstein files. So if he thinks it serves his interest, no one should be surprised if that happens after the midterms.
And Ellie, asking for clemency, of course, that's what Maxwell's attorney asked for. That's different from asking for a pardon, which wipes your criminal record clean. What could clemency mean for Ghislaine Maxwell?
So there's two variations of clemency. One, as you said, Jake, would be a pardon, which absolutely just wipes the conviction off the books and would let Ghislaine Maxwell out of prison the moment it was issued. Separately, there's a lesser option called a commutation, and that could be a sentencing reduction. It could be a reduction of a couple years, a couple weeks. It could be a reduction down to any level the president wants. So, and by the way, just for the record, Ghislaine Maxwell is 64 years old. If you do the math on her time left, she has about 11 years left on her 20-year sentence when you deduct time off for good behavior. So she's got a ways to go. So there is a way Donald Trump could not quite pardon her, but reduce the sentence through a commutation.
Ellie Honig, Jamie Gangel, thanks to both of you. The fallout from the Epstein file saga extends to our world lead with stunning developments today. In the UK, calls for Britain's Prime Minister Keir Starmer to step down over his appointment of Peter Mendelsohn to be the ambassador to the U.S. due to Mendelssohn's long-standing relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, as exposed in the release of the files. The scandal has already cost Starmer's chief of staff his job, and now late today, Buckingham Palace saying it would support a criminal probe of the former Prince Andrew over new revelations that he shared secret trade documents with Epstein. CNN's Max Foster reports for us from London.
Tonight, King Charles signalling his readiness to cooperate with UK police in any investigation into his brother Andrew. The Epstein crisis now engulfing the palace and the UK Parliament. UK police are, quote, assessing reports that former Prince Andrew shared confidential information with convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Emails suggest that Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, in his previous role as trade envoy, sent Epstein reports in 2010 containing briefings on official government visits to Asia and investment opportunities. Prince William picking a silence on the Epstein affair. Ahead of a visit to Saudi Arabia, a palace spokesperson saying the Prince and Princess of Wales' thoughts remain focused on the victims. King Charles reiterated the same sentiment in a later statement, saying if they're approached by Thames Valley Police, we stand ready to support them as you'd expect. As was previously stated, Their Majesty's thoughts and sympathies have been and remain with the victims of any and all forms of abuse. Andrew was stripped of his royal titles and ordered to leave his royal residence last year due to his ties to the late sex offender Epstein. This photo showed Andrew Mountbatten Windsor with Epstein's former girlfriend and convicted child sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein survivor Virginia Giuffre, who accused Andrew of sexually assaulting her when she was just 17. He settled a civil lawsuit by Giuffre out of court in 2022. Giuffre died by suicide last April. On January 30th, the latest tranche of Epstein documents had 3 undated photos showing Andrew kneeling over what appears to be a woman or girl whose face has been redacted, lying fully clothed and supine on the floor. Andrew's previously denied any wrongdoing.
He lied about that.
UK Premier Keir Starmer facing his own storm over his decision to appoint Peter Mandelson as ambassador to the US in 2024, despite knowing about his ties to the late child sex trafficker. Documents reveal that Mandelson too shared confidential information with Epstein.
To learn that there was a cabinet minister leaking sensitive information at the height of the response to the 2008 crash is beyond infuriating. And I am as angry as the public and any member of this House. Mandelson betrayed our country, our parliament, and my party.
Mandelson resigned from the ruling Labour Party and the House of Lords and is under police investigation. Calls for Starmer to step down have grown following the resignations of his top 2 aides, including his long-serving Chief of Staff who stepped down on Sunday.
That's why the distraction needs to end and the leadership in Downing Street has to change.
The more we see of the Epstein files, the deeper it plunges the British establishment into crisis. Max Foster, CNN London.
Thanks so much, Max Foster, for that report. As Savannah Guthrie releases a new video pleading for help in locating her missing mother, next thing we're going to talk to a former kidnapper ransom negotiator about what may be happening behind the scenes in the investigation.
Aaron Burnett out front, next on CNN.
These are the elements of the scientific method. First, observe. Second, question. Third, hypothesize. Fourth, experiment. Fifth, test. 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 Now share results.
Simparica Trio protects against 3 categories of parasites. This drug class has been associated with neurologic side effects, including seizures. Use with caution in dogs with or without a history of these disorders. Don't just protect, triple protect.
So many in-network doctors on ZocDoc.
Mom, we need you to focus. We need snacks.
Dr. Estelle is comforting and didn't rush me, as you can see me today. Look,
We're glued.
You've got options. Download the ZocDoc app today.
Still dealing with moderate to severe ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease symptoms despite treatment? Put them in check with Rinvoq. Rinvoq works differently, and it's a once daily pill.
When symptoms try to take control, I got rapid relief with Rinvoq. Check.
Rinvoq helped visibly repair my intestinal lining. Check.
I got lasting steroid-free remission with Rinvoq. Check.
Rapid symptom relief. Visible repair of the intestinal lining.
And lasting steroid-free remission. Check, check, and check.
Rinvoq can lower ability to fight infections. Before treatment, test for TB and do blood work. Serious infections, blood clots, some fatal. Cancers including lymphoma and skin. Serious allergic reactions, GI tears, death, heart attack, and stroke occurred. CV event risk increases in age 50 plus with a heart disease risk factor. Tell your doctor if you've had these events, infection, Hep B or C, smoked, are pregnant, or planning. Don't take if allergic or have an infection.
Put UC and Crohn's in check. And keep them there with Rinvoq.
Ask your gastroenterologist about Rinvoq and learn how AbbVie can help you save.
Are your ears blocked? Nobody likes the feeling. Thankfully, there's a safe and simple way to clear them.
Whether it's from flying, altitude changes, or a cold, when your ears won't clear, Eustachi is here. Eustachi pops open the blocked ear tubes with its gentle stream of air while you swallow. It's all natural, drug-free, and easy to use anytime, anywhere.
Eustachi is a proven solution for ear congestion, and it is safe for the whole family.
Always travel with Hitachi because once you're in the air, it's too late.
Are you Marcia?
I am. I am.
Thanks for meeting me here. Usually not an interweb dating guy. Barely ever use this small computer. Unless it's to vote on my insurance with Liberty Liberty.
Oh, same. I hate this thing, but it's true. You can save hundreds bundling with Liberty.
Liberty?
Liberty?
Liberty.
Liberty.
Are you hungry? Let's get some roadside now.
And some tender leaves.
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
The first day back from maternity leave is so weird. We get it. Find a caregiver who does too. When it's not you, it's care.com.
If you want the real deal, you should switch to Tide. Stuff over there. It's so watered down. Tide cleans the stuff that others miss. Local cleaner. I think cheap. They smell great too.
Excuse me.
Can we help you?
I'll take Tide.
It's got to be Tide.
Who's through?
What's happening?
Ordering up jokes for the show.
Oh, I want to try. Anybody got a quarter?
Yep.
Is that how you get all your jokes for the show?
Yeah.
Have I got news for you? Saturday at 9 on CNN.
We're back with our national lead. We're live from the ground in Tucson, Arizona, as the search for Nancy Guthrie continues in its 9th day. Although no suspects have been named in this case, investigators continue to look into the potential ransom notes sent to local news stations, which demand $6 million in Bitcoin by 5 p.m. Mountain Time, presumably today. So let's bring in Scott Walker, who spent 16 years with Scotland Yard as a detective and kidnapped for ransom negotiator, who's also the author of the book Order Out of Chaos, The Kidnapped Negotiator's Guide to Influence and Persuasion. Scott, thanks so much for joining us. So, breaking news this afternoon, Savannah Guthrie posted a new video on social media today. This one was not addressed to the kidnappers. She was talking to the public, asking for the public, no matter where they are, even if they don't live anywhere close to Tucson, to contact law enforcement if they see or hear anything strange. She also said, quote, "We're at an hour of desperation. We need your help." What do you make of this? It seems to a lot of us watching that this suggests that law enforcement just doesn't have any serious leads as of now.
Well, this is a really unusual case. Ordinarily, the kidnappers would have gone in contact with the authorities or the family by now, and some kind of meaningful negotiation would be taking place. And ordinarily, we'd want to do that quite covertly, not in the full glare of the media. However, in this case, there is something slightly unusual about it, and I think in these circumstances, actually getting the media and the public support to try and help find Nancy is actually the right step to take here. And obviously, it's a really, really traumatic period for the whole Guthrie family at the moment.
I think there remain questions about whether the ransom notes are actually from the people who took Nancy Guthrie, but let's assume that they're real and the Guthries ultimately do decide to pay this ransom. What does that process usually look like? What happens next?
Well, you're right. In your first point there, we have to be able to verify as accurately as possible these notes are from the kidnappers who actually have Nancy. And then the next stage after that is to get a proof of life, which my understanding is these notes don't actually provide that. And so once a proof of life has been obtained, then it's a really delicate time to actually enter into the logistics of potentially handing over money or being apprehended by the authorities. But we say the most dangerous time in the negotiation is just when you think you're winning. And really, it's only when, in this case, Nancy's back safely with her family will people be able to breathe a sigh of relief.
It's seems as though the two ransom notes, however legitimate they are, were sent to news stations, two local TV stations here, and then also TMZ through a tip submission form or an email. Would that make it easier for investigators to locate the suspect or harder?
Possibly. I mean, I don't know what capabilities they'll be trained at this. My guess is they'll be throwing everything they can to try and identify who is sending this and where from. However, the way in which the alleged kidnapper has been sending these messages would indicate maybe slightly an amateur approach, because normally a professional kidnapper, somebody who's really keen on getting some money from this, actually would have perhaps approached it slightly differently and gone directly to the family.
Scott Walker, thank you so much. And if you have any information about the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie, no matter how unimportant you might think it might be, anything you've heard or seen that you think could be possibly relevant, please share it. The Pima County Sheriff's Department is at 520-351-4900, or you can call the FBI, 1-800-CALL-FBI, 1-800-CALL-FBI. You can also reach the agency online at tips.fbi.gov. That's tips.fbi.gov. I'll be back with you tomorrow from here in Tucson as we continue to follow updates in the search for Nancy Guthrie. Aaron Burnett up front starts now.
Up front next, breaking news, the search for Nancy Guthrie entering the, quote, hour of desperation. Savannah Guthrie pleading with the public to help before a 7 p.m. deadline. As TMZ's Harvey Levin has new details about the Bitcoin account which Guthrie's captors may be using. He's our guest. And breaking news, lawmakers revealing for the first time what Trump's DOJ blacked out in the Epstein files, some of it. So what exactly were some of the most outrageous redactions? One of the members of Congress who's just viewed the unredacted files is our guest tonight. And MAGA Voice is pushing back on Trump after he called Bad Bunny's performance, quote, absolutely terrible. Our John King is in Southern Texas, slamming Bad Bunny, bad politics. Let's go out front. And good evening, I'm Aaron Burnett. Out front tonight, the breaking news of a cry for help. Savannah Guthrie in a new video for the first time making a plea to the public. She looks into the camera begging for tips, not addressing her mother's alleged captor, as we have seen in all other previous videos from Savannah and her siblings.
We believe our mom is still out there. We need your help. Law enforcement is working tirelessly around the clock trying to bring her home, trying to find her. She was taken and we don't know where. And we need your help. We are at an hour of desperation. And we need your help.
Guthrie's desperate plea coming 3.5 hours before the second deadline, which was given as 7 Eastern tonight, obviously just a couple of minutes ago. Now, that's according to the original alleged ransom note, a note which demanded $6 million by 5 p.m. local time, that's 7 o'clock Eastern, according to our affiliate KGUN. But according to TMZ, the Bitcoin account referenced in the ransom note still has a zero balance. Over the weekend, Savannah Guthrie and her family did respond to the ransom message, saying that they would pay to have their mother returned to them. It's all coming as investigators were seen examining a septic tank near Guthrie's home, as well as visiting Savannah's sister's home, where Nancy Guthrie went for dinner the night of her disappearance. Now, in just a moment, we're going to be joined by TMZ's Harvey Levin, who received that original ransom note. First, though, let's go to Tucson, Arizona, and our own Ed Lapp there. And Ed, what are you learning there on the ground? Is Savannah calling this the hour of desperation? Of course, we're now past what that, alleged letter said was the final deadline.
Yeah, as the news kind of focuses on this ransom situation and trying to make sense of what that could be, investigators here in Tucson say they will be returning back here to the home area around where Nancy Guthrie lives to continue their search, and that search could also continue into tomorrow as well, but it's not clear exactly what they're looking for.
We believe our mom is still out there.
Savannah Guthrie, sitting alone, makes a direct appeal to the public
for help in the search for her missing mother, Nancy Guthrie, 9 days after she was taken in the middle of the night from her home in Tucson, Arizona.
We need your help. Law enforcement is working tirelessly around the clock trying to bring her home, trying to find her. She was taken and we don't know where.
It's been 3 days since the alleged kidnapper sent a second ransom note to a local TV station after demanding $6 million. The latest note did not include a deadline. The FBI and the local sheriff's department have searched Nancy's neighborhood day and night, scouring her home, her rooftop, even an underground septic tank near her property. Searches by air and ground of the nearby foothills and desert, and still Nancy's no closer to coming home. Savannah and her family are reaching out again, this time for more than prayers, asking people to look for their mother wherever they can.
No matter where you are, even if you're far from Tucson, if you see anything, if you hear anything, if there's anything at all that seems strange to you, that you report to law enforcement.
Expressing gratitude in this horrific moment as she appeals to everyone concerned about her mother's fate.
Thank you so much for all of the prayers, because we believe that somehow, some way, she is feeling these prayers, and that God is lifting her even in this moment and in this darkest place.
This is the 4th video the family has posted to social media, including 2 from all 3 of Nancy's children, and 1 video just from her son. Previous posts were aimed at the kidnapper.
First, we have to know that you have our mom. We want to talk to you, and we are waiting for contact.
And even directly to their mom.
Everyone is looking for you, Mommy. Everywhere. We will not rest.
On Saturday, the siblings again reached out to the potential kidnappers, offering payment.
We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will pay.
With each message, another glimpse into this nightmare that Nancy Guthrie's family is facing, seemingly with no end in sight.
We are at an hour of desperation. We need your help.
That sense of desperation is something that not only is the Guthrie feeling the most intensely of all, but I think a lot of their neighbors here in Tucson and friends who are desperate for explanation as to what has happened here continues. And they do know that neighbors are helping as best they can. Investigators have been back out here, Aaron, re-canvassing the neighborhood, re-talking to neighbors, asking them for any kind of clue and video that might help them. And investigators that topped off with here this evening, they say that they're coming back once again this evening and could be here into tomorrow as well. Again, Aaron.
All right, thank you very much. And let's go now to Harvey Levin, the founder of TMZ, who received the initial ransom note for Nancy Guthrie. So Harvey, this Bitcoin account, and we are now, 7 minutes past the deadline of the original alleged ransom note which you received. And so, you've been looking at the Bitcoin account. What are you reporting?
There's nothing there. It has not been deposited. Aaron, I was thinking of something that you raised on Friday when you spoke to the reporter from KOLD and asked about the second note. And you asked her if this was a ransom note, and she kind of carefully said that she doesn't think authorities would characterize it as a ransom note. The only other thing I can think of, what if, and I don't know this, but I'm just raising this, what if there was another Bitcoin address in that second ransom letter that doesn't align with the one we received? I don't know why they would do this, and it doesn't make sense to me, because if Savannah did pay this money, I don't know that it's in her interest to do an APB for everybody to look out for somebody who might have her mom or to find her mom if they paid the money and they're waiting for the return of their mother. I don't know that she would go out with a call like that. So on a level, I don't see why there would be another Bitcoin account. But I think it's possible it was in this letter. I want to read you I'll read you one line from the ransom note we received. And they say it is in the best interest of everyone to have this completed as soon as possible. So, you know, this was way back when the first ransom note was issued, and days passed, and on Saturday, Savannah said, we are going to pay this. So it's baffling to us. We just don't understand what has transpired, but the account we're looking at does not show deposit.
And so you said the original sentence was, it is in the best interest of everyone to have this completed as soon as possible. All right, so now I understand exactly what you're saying, right? It's interesting that the way that that reporter who had received the second letter did, you're right, did characterize it as not a ransom note, but so we don't know if there was an additional address in it or not. But when you talk about the Bitcoin address itself, my understanding is that, Harvey, it's not hard to check it. I mean, you're checking it frequently, right? That Bitcoin address?
Not hard to check it, but almost impossible, and maybe impossible to find out who is it going to. That's the issue. But we're not seeing a deposit, and we've been looking obviously all day, and we looked at 4 o'clock our time, 5 o'clock Tucson time, and we're not seeing it.
And you know, we were talking to a crypto expert, John Griffin. He was saying, okay, whoever set up this particular Bitcoin account does show a basic level of crypto knowledge, which is certainly consistent with everything else, right? No one has been able to find out the whereabouts of Nancy Guthrie, so there's nothing basic about the activities here. But then he added, if they're a sophisticated crypto operator, that they will move the funds, he said, in such a way that it'll go to other cryptocurrencies, and then the tracks will disappear. You know, we all hear, oh, Bitcoin's supposed to be all transparent, although then we hear, but no one will have any idea on God's green earth whose account this is. But you know, that the fact that they could transfer this from Bitcoin into other cryptocurrencies. Are you hearing this also, Harvey, from your experts?
Yeah, I mean, look, what we're hearing is that it should show up at least at some point. I mean, we're checking this every minute. It should show up at some point in this account, and we just haven't seen it. But again, Aaron, I'm just puzzled that Savannah said on Saturday they were going to pay the money, and clearly they were responding to something in that letter when she said, we understand and we will pay. So it meant that they hadn't yet but will, and we're not seeing it. But if she did pay, why this new video? Wouldn't this be kind of biting your nails and waiting to see if she safely returned the way the letter said she will be, and not to necessarily go out and say we are begging the public because we don't know. Just one other thing, and we talked a little bit about this on Friday, but I am, the more I think of this, that this is somebody within the range of the Tucson television market, because they are tied somehow to these local stations. And, you know, they could go to NBC, which is Savannah's employer, but they are going back to these local stations, and it just feels like it is an intelligent person the way it's written. And I think the reporter from KOLD on your show, Mary, kind of said the same thing. It's an intelligent person who wrote a well-constructed letter with perfect grammar, seems sophisticated when it comes to tracing where it's coming from, and then you have the Bitcoin address. So what I would ask, and I'm assuming the authorities have done, is, you know, Savannah said that anybody in a wide range. I wonder if anybody in that general area of Tucson has noticed somebody who is MIA, who fits a description like that over the last week, because I'm assuming whoever that is isn't around now.
Right, well, exactly, that is what you would think. It's interesting because in her most recent plea, which is different than anything we've seen thus far, right? This one is her by herself, and she's not addressing the kidnappers, right, or the alleged abductors. She's addressing the problem, right? She is speaking as she can do, right? Because she knows how to do that to the public and asking for their help. I am curious about something, Harvey, though, that you said at the very beginning, which is that the original ransom note that you received said it would be the only contact. Okay, now Mary Coleman from KULD, she got the second one and the first one. She said they were consistent with each other, right? But obviously no one knows whether one is real and the other isn't, or whether both are not real, right? We just don't know. I'm just curious though, Harvey, is it possible in your mind, and I know you didn't get the second ransom note, but do you think it's possible that the second one may not be authentic only in the context of, they said, the first one, there would be no other contact. And from the way that Savannah and her family are communicating, as in also through the media, it doesn't seem that there's direct contact between the two.
I don't think there is direct contact. I read this first ransom letter as almost braggadocious, that it's sort of, you know, you're not going to find me. The police aren't going to be able to help you. I'm not going to give you any more information. Don't bother trying to find me. You know, it feels almost like you're not going to figure out who I am. And the reason I think a second letter may have been sent is something that Mary said. Remember, what Savannah said was, we need proof of life. And you asked Mary from KLOD, was there any proof of life? And she wouldn't say directly there was, but she said that the second letter addresses the statement of Savannah. And the statement of Savannah was about proof of life. So what I'm thinking is there was something in that letter that addressed proof of life that this person felt was necessary in order to get the $6 million. I mean, that's kind of the way I see it when you kind of put the pieces together, and it's really based on your interview with Mary.
So Harvey, you know, in the letter that you received, and I guess it's just chilling to hear it, right? It is in the best interest of everyone to have this completed as soon as possible. Is there anything else in there in terms of sentences or anything that you think is worth sharing at this point, given that we're, you know, where we are?
Well, I mean, we talked about the second deadline, and there is a direct, stark statement about consequences if they didn't get that money. That's all I will say, but it is chilling when you read that sentence. It is short and to the point. So,
one final question, Harvey, then. Are you surprised? I know you're raising a very fair point. There could be another Bitcoin address. We don't know what we don't know. But if this really was the only communication between the kidnappers and Nancy Guthrie's family, right, just happening through the media, then we are well past that deadline, and that Bitcoin account is empty. I'm just stating the very obvious here.
Yeah, that's kind of the way I see it too. And, you know, I raised this issue of maybe the second letter has a second Bitcoin address, but it doesn't make sense to me, because why would Savannah, you know, look, Aaron, we didn't talk specifically, but I'll tell you now. The letter says that she will be returned within 12 hours back in the Tucson area. And then if you look at 12 hours, that's a radius of about 700 miles. That's how you calculated the map. Mm-hmm. That's right. But if they're just playing the waiting game, if they paid the money, I don't understand why you then go out and just throw a Hail Mary and plead with people, anything you know, please help us, law enforcement's doing everything they can. That doesn't feel like they've set the ball in motion to get her back based on the ransom demand. So, you know, I've raised it as a possibility, but the logic of it escapes me, that why they would pay and then come out with a statement like this.
Yeah, it's hard to understand. I don't understand it either. All right, Harvey, thank you very much. I appreciate you.
You bet.
Harvey Levin there from TMZ, and John Miller is out front. So, John, you know, you hear, Harvey had a lot of information there. By the way, he said it was, you know, within 12 hours from now, if they paid, the original note said that Nancy Guthrie would be returned. Okay, so that would be by 7 a.m. Eastern tomorrow morning. But again, he keeps refreshing the Bitcoin account that was in that letter, and it still says 0. Okay, this Bitcoin account is publicly visible. I mean, that's the point Harvey's making. That, you know, anybody would be able to see if Savannah Guthrie put money into that. And then that in and of itself raises questions.
Anybody who had the alphanumeric number behind that account, would know that, which means it's publicly available to somebody who has that, but that's not generally available. And we also have this gap, which is we know the communication that Harvey's aware of. We know the two communications that Mary Coleman at KOLD, the TV station, has been privy to. We don't know if there's an additional communication that neither one have seen, and we certainly haven't heard the full contents of the second note from the kidnappers. They could have provided a new Bitcoin address, they could
Right,
have
that's
changed
already
codes, they
indicated,
could
yeah.
have done a number of things. So we're in the dark, which on details like that, we probably should.
No, we absolutely should be. We can only go with what we know though, and I guess just to ask you on the very basis of it, if we are past the deadline of the first letter, which we are, we don't know if the second letter,
Right.
we were told actually didn't change anything about deadlines, but maybe it had another deadline, that's what I'm saying, but we don't know that. So if it had a deadline and it had an account and we're past the deadline and we're looking at the account and nothing's in it, what does that say to you?
Nothing. And I'll tell you why. Let's assume for the purpose of this discussion right now,
Yeah.
that the kidnappers are real kidnappers, that the ransom demands are real ransom demands, and the
which we don't
deadline's
know,
a
but
real
yeah.
deadline. There's no such thing as a real deadline if someone who's interested in $6 million. Kidnappers, and I have a little experience here in kidnap for ransom, kidnappers generally set these deadlines with threats to keep things moving, because the victim is a hot potato that keeps them exposed. They want to get rid of the victim and get them out of there. They want to get the money in there, and then they want to disappear. So that's what deadlines are for. But if it means waiting a little longer to get their money, we've crossed our way through every deadline and every negotiation on the idea of logistics.
Yeah.
It's hard to raise that much money, especially in cash in a way that you can move it into that account. It's hard to do this and that, and you can get past the deadline.
Right.
And by the way, let's say, for the purposes again of this discussion, and we don't know this, but the threat was, if we don't have the money at that point, we're going to kill the victim. Well, for someone who's looking for millions of dollars, what is a victim that they murder worth? And the answer is for them, nothing except they've now gone from kidnapping, murder. So I think a lot of this is just part of this terrible, terrible game.
All right, John Miller, thank you very much. And our breaking news continues. New information just coming in from the Peanut County Sheriff on why investigators are at the Guthrie homes tonight. Plus, Jeffrey Epstein's former accomplice posed by the House Oversight Committee today, refusing to talk unless Trump comes to her rescue. Congressman was part of that deposition and just actually got access to the unredacted files out of that viewing to us. And MAGA divided over bad money. Trump trashing the halftime show, others though loving it. So how is it playing to make key Southern Texas county, where 89% of the population is Hispanic? Our John King is there.
Federal agents are executing and terrorizing American citizens, detaining and tear gassing children, creating chaos.
Are we really going to be the Gestapo? Where's your papers? Is that what we've come to?
Things are out of control when the government kills Americans and lies about the victims to cover up the crime. It's not law and order, and it's not leadership. Those responsible must be fired. President Trump, stop the abuse. Investigate the killings. It's gone too far.
Soon we'll be telling the whole stadium how Liberty Mutual customizes car insurance to save people hundreds. Now they'll get us tickets.
Only pay for the key. Liberty, 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 liberty.
Tell me everything.
So, what have we done? What?
Secrets. Take it back. It's right here.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, that's a hell of a crime job. Did you know about this? This is what we've been waiting for.
Why choose a sleep number smart bed? I gotta keep it warm when I'm cold.
Wait, no, I'm always on.
Sleep number goes bad.
Can I make my side soft?
I like my side firm. Sleep number goes bad. Your ideal firmness and effortless comfort all night. Can I also sleep better and better? Sleep number does that.
And now our best deals are on, including 50% off our limited edition mattress, plus 0% interest for 24 months. Check it out at sleepnumber.com or a Sleep Number store near you. Did you know about 1 in 3 people with plaque psoriasis may also develop psoriatic arthritis? With fewer symptoms from moderate to severe plaque psoriasis, where would you go? Imagine being 1,000,000 miles away. With Tremfya, clear skin is possible. And for adults with active psoriatic arthritis, Tremfya goes beyond the skin.
Joint pain, stiffness, and swelling is possible. And Tremfya even reduced fatigue. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and TB. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Imagine being a million miles away. Ask your doctor about Tremfya.
I can clean your teeth, but I can't wash your whole mouth.
Yes, we're toothbrushes, not mouth brushes.
Listerine works with brushing to deliver 5 times more cleaning power, plus it contains clinically proven essential oils.
For whole mouth health, Listerine. Wash your mouth.
Take a look. Look around. Time to redesign where you live or work? Don't go it alone. With Solo Studio can guide you. We're licensed Utah architects with a portfolio of striking, intuitive designs within a broad range of successful projects, including both homeowners and businesses large and small. Our knowledge of spatial planning, zoning ordinance, and building code expertise help bring your dreams into reality. For appointments, visit solostudio.design.
For 2 weeks, all the same team. Comcast NBC Universal is proud to bring the local school to America.
Got news for you. New episode Saturday at 9 on CNN and next day on CNN.
Breaking news, new information from the Pima County Sheriff tonight in the search for Savannah Guthrie's mother, Nancy. The sheriff saying in a statement just a moment ago, quote, many of you observed an active law enforcement presence at the Guthrie residences over the weekend. That activity will continue tonight and into tomorrow as part of the ongoing investigative process, including the expansion of the search and follow-up on new leads. Now, we saw the search of the septic tank at Nancy Guthrie's home over the weekend, and at least 3 deputy sheriffs were seen at Savannah's sister Annie's house as well. Officials left with a bag, and 1 deputy sheriff was seen wearing blue latex gloves. Up front now, Mary Ellen O'Toole, former FBI senior profiler, and Michael Alcazar, retired NYPD hostage negotiator. I appreciate both of you. So, Michael, you know, we were told Nancy Guthrie's home had been turned back over to the family last week, and that happened pretty early on. Since then, though, numerous searches, right? They found a device on the roof that a neighbor had alerted them something might be up there. They had that we saw them at the septic tank. We've obviously, you know, seen them go back and forth many times. The crime scene tape went up, but not for a couple days after the initial alleged abduction. What does all this say to you?
To me, it seems like they probably rushed in releasing the crime scene. Probably they didn't process the crime scene to the best of their ability. I don't know what was the rush in releasing it, and now they're getting more information. Now they have to revisit it. And of course, we saw in the past that people have been in the crime scene, news outlets have been in the crime scene, which has now contaminated the crime scene, which just makes it a little bit harder to process because now you have more DNA, more fingerprints, more footprints in the crime scene. So I think they may probably drop the ball a little bit in releasing that crime scene too early.
Mariel, we just got a new statement in here from the FBI, and I want to note the context here, of course. It's about half an hour after the first ransom note's final deadline. And the FBI statement says, the FBI is not aware of any continued communication between the Guthrie family and the suspected kidnappers, nor have we identified a suspect or person of interest in this case at this time. Now, Mariel, that fits with what would be publicly known, right? But if anybody thought that there was anything private that we weren't aware of, this tries to disabuse us of that notion. How surprised are you at this point that they would say no suspect, no person of interest, no communication?
That is surprising because the point of either not saying that or saying something to suggest that they're looking at a number of people, which essentially would be correct. They're not ruling out anybody, really keeps the pressure on the offender, on the kidnapper, or the kidnappers. And that's an important thing to do, to keep pressure on them, because when there's pressure on the person that's responsible, they will make mistakes, or they'll say something to somebody else that'll just blurt it out, like, don't they know what they're talking, they have no idea what they're talking about, this is ridiculous, or something else. And that information, that comment could then be relayed to law enforcement. So I'm not sure I understand the rationale behind saying, we don't know anything about any suspects at this time. You really do want to keep the pressure on the community.
And Michael, what about the phrasing from the FBI? We're not aware of any contact between the kidnappers and the family. Is that, should anyone put any emphasis on the word aware?
Again, that might just be a ploy. It might just be keeping their cards close to their vest. That could signal maybe that they're close in apprehension. I don't know. But you know, we're not privy to all the information they're working with, and you know, at this point, we're just really speculating.
So, Mary Ellen, you know, what are they looking for at this point? I mean, you know, they go back into the crime scene, as Michael saying that they had kind of ended it as a scene too early, right? When they were going back and searching again, going on the roof or going to the septic tank. But what do you think they are looking for at this point? I mean, is there a specific process and sort of how-to list that they're following right now, or is it feel a bit more scattershot?
I doubt that there's a specific checklist that they're looking for, but if they're basing it on prior cases of violent crimes that have involved kidnappings, and not necessarily for money, but for sexual purposes like a sexual assault or a serial murder case, the offender has been in the home of the victim's home before the crime occurred. So checking it out, looking around, seeing what the layout is, and during that first visit to the home, they could have left forensic evidence behind, whether it's fingerprints, whether it's DNA, something like that. So that would not be, that would not be unusual, to be honest with you. So that may be part of the reason that they're inside the home right now, not looking for what was left a week ago, but on prior occasions.
So, Michael, the FBI statement that I read, there is one other part of it that I want to share. They say, the FBI, someone has that one piece of information that can help us bring Nancy home. We need that person to share what they know. By the way, Michael, I'm going to say that is very consistent with what Savannah said in her video statement today, where she didn't address the captors, but addressed just the public and said, please, we need your help, right? It's very consistent with what Savannah said. What do you hear, though, from the FBI when they're reaching out in such a way?
I think similar to what Savannah's saying, they're relying on the public at this point. If in fact they don't have any suspects or any persons of interest, they're relying on someone out there that might have the information that wants to help solve this case. So I think they're putting it out there so that people are aware that, you know, and they might be motivated by money, and hopefully they will contact the FBI with any information that could lead to the apprehension of these kidnappers.
All right, well, thank you both very much. I appreciate your time. And next, new details just in about what Trump's DOJ redacted in the Epstein files. A congressman who just had access to the unredacted files is our guest. So what did he learn? Plus, our John King takes us to a crucial county in Texas that's almost entirely Hispanic, but it backed Trump in the last election. So how are Trump's attacks on Bad Bunny going over there?
When it fits you, when it thrills you, when it connects and protects. This is 140 years of Mercedes-Benz innovation. It's more than a feeling. It's a bond. Experience everything a Mercedes-Benz SUV has to offer today.
Coming to the stage this Friday, it's Ned's first team karaoke night. But he's wondering,
what if my flaky red plaque psoriasis takes center stage?
Next up, we have Ned. What if Ned knew he could treat differently?
Otezla is a pill that treats plaque psoriasis even in hard-to-treat areas. You can get clearer skin and reduce itching and flaking. Doctors have been prescribing Otezla for over 10 years. Don't use a Tesla if you're allergic to it. Get medical help right away if you have trouble breathing or swallowing, swelling of the face, lips, tongue, throat, or arms. Severe diarrhea, nausea, or vomiting, depression, suicidal thoughts, or weight loss can happen. Tell your doctor if any of these occur and if you have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts.
With Otesla, clear skin could be your jam. Live in the moment. Struggling on topicals? Ask your doctor about Otesla.
CIDP is no walk in the park.
That's true.
But I take a Vyvgart Hytrulo self-injection.
Same. It's the first major innovation in CIDP treatment in over 30 years.
And while I still have CIDP, I have a chance to live better. Vyvgart Hytrulo has been proven to significantly reduce the risk of symptoms getting worse.
And I can treat my CIDP with a once-weekly injection in about 30 seconds.
Do not use Vyvgart Hytrulo if you're allergic to its ingredients. It may increase infection risk and cause serious allergic or infusion or injection-related reactions. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, fever, recent or planned vaccinations, allergy history, or kidney problems. The most common side effects include respiratory and urinary tract infections, headache, and injection site reactions.
I'm hitting fairways with the fellas.
I'm hitting the road with my number one. That's how we live vividly. Vyvgart Hytrulo.
Ask your neurologist about Vyvgart Hytrulo for self-injection.
At Great Wolf Lodge, the splashes are huge, the action never stops, and the smiles come easy. So bring your pack together and book your stay today and strengthen the pack.
I'm Maria Montgomery, and at Westshore Home, we make home remodeling easy. From tub to shower conversions to walk-in tub installations and even full bath remodels. We're ready to get rid of your old, outdated bathroom and transform it into your dream space. So if your bathroom looks like this, or even this, we're ready to transform your bathroom. The best part is we don't require any money down, so you can get started and not make your first payment until after the project is complete. All of our projects are professionally installed by our crews of highly trained employee installers, never subcontractors. And right now we have something special going on. It's our winter savings event. Lock in free installation on all tub and shower conversions. Plus, for a limited time, get 18 months of no interest financing. Just call or visit westshorevap.com.
The stories that matter. Anderson Cooper 360 tonight at 8 on CNN.
Breaking news, new details emerging about what the Justice Department chose to redact in the Epstein files. Members of Congress receiving brief access to the unredacted files today. Congressman Massey and Khanna, who led the charge to get these documents released to the public, say they've already found names of at least 6 men who should never have been redacted.
In a couple of hours, we found 6 men whose names have been redacted, who are implicated in the way that the files are presented. At least one is a U.S. citizen, at least one is a foreigner, and the other 3 or 4 have names. I'm not sure if they're foreigner, U.S.
And which field do they work in? Is it finance, banking, political?
One is pretty high up in the foreign government.
And some are, one of the others is a pretty prominent individual.
All right, it comes as the House Oversight Committee just released this video. You're looking at it here. It is of Epstein convicted accomplice Ghislaine Maxwell. She appeared virtually, pleading the fifth. But she says she's ready to talk and say what she knows and clear President Trump of wrongdoing if he grants her clemency. Her attorneys say, quote, both President Trump and President Clinton are innocent of any wrongdoing. Ms. Maxwell alone can explain why. Well, of course, she had plenty of time to talk to Todd Blanche. She did not take the fifth when she testified to Trump's Deputy Attorney General. And of course, she was moved almost immediately thereafter that Cushing Women's prison camp, an unprecedented move. Up front now, Democratic Congressman James Walkinshaw, who spent 90 minutes today viewing the unredacted Epstein documents, and he's a member of the Oversight Committee, which held that hearing with Maxwell today. Congressman, a lot to talk to you about tonight. But let's start with what you saw in that time that you were in there with the unredacted files. And I mean, we're talking about millions of pages of paper, so there's only so much you could see. But I know there was one email to Epstein that did really stand out to you today. The redacted version is on the DOJ website, which I'll show everyone. It says Trump's attorney arranged a 20-minute phone conference with Trump and quote-unquote Brad, and then everything else is blacked out. All right, a lot of blackout there. What did you see that stands out to you, Congressman Walkinshaw?
Well, over the course of the 90 minutes that I spent reviewing redactions, I saw a lot of redactions that I couldn't explain, at least not in a way that's consistent with the law, and this is one of them. This email details Jeffrey Epstein's attorneys describing a conversation they had with Donald Trump in 2009. In lieu of a formal deposition, they had a phone conversation with Donald Trump. And in this email where they're recounting that conversation, they describe Trump conceding that Jeffrey Epstein was never, quote, kicked out of Mar-a-Lago, as Trump has claimed, even relatively recently, that Epstein was not a member of Mar-a-Lago. He was a guest. He was never kicked out. Trump was asked if he had been on Epstein's planes, and he gave kind of a non-denial denial, and he said, well, I've been on a lot of planes. We now know the truth is Trump was on Epstein's planes many times in that time period. So it describes, according to Jeffrey Epstein's attorneys at the time, Donald Trump, in my view, not being fully transparent and honest in that conversation back in 2009. I don't understand why that would be redacted. There were no mention of the names of any survivors or any victims in that particular email or that file.
And of course, you know, since it's redacted as far as where we can see, right, we obviously can't confirm it because we haven't seen everything that is in black. All we know, of course, is that Trump hasn't been accused of wrongdoing. But it is incredible from what you say, Congressman, that this would all be redacted. It obviously is very, very significant information that you are describing it. So, you know, in terms of the names, you're talking about the names of victims were what was supposed to be redacted, not the names of anybody else. And your peers who were in the room today also, they had a brief window of time, as you did, to look at some of the documents. Congressman Massey and Conacetti found the names of at least 6 men that they described as being, quote, likely incriminated by their inclusions in the files. And Massey just posted some more details of those exchanges in the files on social media. He says Sultan, or maybe it's unclear, maybe someone named Sultan, seemed to send an email to Epstein that said, quote, I loved the torture video. And then says a well-known retired CEO is on an FBI document that says co-conspirator. Congressman Walkinshaw, these are stunning things that he is saying he saw. Did you see anything that led you today to believe that other men should be criminally charged?
Well, first, it's important to note there are 3 million files, hundreds of thousands of redactions, literally impossible for the 435 members of Congress. We could do 24 hours a day reviewing. We couldn't get through all these redactions, so we didn't necessarily see the same files today. I can say that I saw many names, including names and emails to and from Jeffrey Epstein that suggest these individuals were involved in crimes or at least knew about crimes. And again, I'm not able to explain why they were redacted in a way that's consistent with the law. The Department of Justice has a legal requirement to explain those redactions to the Congress. They haven't done that yet, and one of the things we're going to do as a result of these reviews is push them to explain in a way that's consistent with the law why so many of these names were redacted.
Well, I think, you know, speaking as just a member of the American public, it seems absurd, and that the names should all be out there, right? That the goal was to protect the victims, and the people that you're describing would not have been in the category of victims. All right, Congressman Walkinshaw, thank you very much. I appreciate your time. And next, Trump at odds with many inside MAGA over Bad Bunny's halftime show. He slammed it epically. Could that backfire? Plus a special report on how the Today Show family is rallying around Savannah Guthrie.
We are a family. I'm part of the family. I'm happy to be with you because we show up for each other.
Disaster at the Chernobyl town, March 1st on CNN and next day on the CNN app. I have active psoriatic arthritis, but want to move with more freedom. So I'm ready to jump in with Skyrizi. Along with clearer skin, Skyrizi helps me move with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. And it's just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and TB. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
There's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi.
Approved for the treatment of relapsing forms of multiple sclerosis in adults. Ponvory lowers the number of white blood cells, lymphocytes, in your blood. Usually, this will return to normal within 1 to 2 weeks of stopping treatment. Ponvory can increase your risk of serious infections that can be life-threatening and may cause death. Ponvory can cause your heart rate to slow down, especially after you take your first dose. Do not take Ponvory if in the last 6 months you had a heart attack, unstable angina, stroke, or other severe heart conditions, including certain types of abnormal heart rhythm. The most common side effects of Ponvory include upper respiratory tract infections, elevated liver enzymes, and high blood pressure. Starting treatment with Ponvory will begin with the starter pack. Ask your doctor about Ponvory or visit ponvory.com to learn more. By Banda Pharmaceuticals. This is an urgent appeal from Save the Children.
أنا صوتي بيمشي وما شو تقول كمان يبغى اللي يكون الجوع يعني ما بمشي يعني بس إذا أخذها بسكتها ما باخذها كمان مو بتسخن زي بعد أخذت في البيت وروي حميسون واكل pain.
For Tariq, Asha, and Kaltoon, watching their siblings experience the pain of malnutrition is heartbreaking. They are among the millions of children at greatest risk in the global hunger emergency. We need your support right now to help save children's lives. Please call or go online to give just $10 a month, only 33 cents a day. You can help us provide food, essentials, life-saving medical care, and help children who need it most. We need 1,000 new monthly donors this month to reach children around the world and right here at home. Please help children like Kaltoon so they don't have to watch their siblings suffer. Please call or go online now with your monthly gifts of just $10, only 33 cents a day. You can help provide food, medicine, care, and protection by calling or going online right now and giving just $10 a month. Your donation today can help secure additional grants, which can multiply the impact of your support up to 10 times. And when you call with your credit card, we will send you the Save the Children token as a thank you for your support. Your small monthly donation of just $10 could be the reason a hungry child survives. Show them they're not alone. Please call or go online to givetosave.org to help save lives.
Well, that's all around.
When you fly Emirates, your holiday isn't over until your flight is over.
Tonight, Mac is defending Bad Bunny. On the heels of Trump calling Bad Bunny's Super Bowl halftime show, quote, absolutely terrible and an affront to the greatness of America, one of the president's influential supporters, WWE wrestler Logan Paul, tweeted, Puerto Ricans are Americans, and I'm happy they were given the opportunity to showcase the talent that comes from the island. Cash Patel's girlfriend, Alexis Wilkins, praising Democrats' support of Bad Bunny, writing, Republicans need to unite and get on better messaging because this branding is fantastic and allows all Dems to get behind it. And the Trump campaign's former deputy Hispanic communications director, Bianca Rodriguez, warning Trump supporters, way to go alienating your Puerto Rican conservative base. But Trump has not stopped, not backing away from calling the performance one of the worst, all caps, ever. It makes no sense. It's an affront to the greatness of America. Nobody understands a word the guy is saying. This show, well, it's just a slap in the face to our country. But it's worth noting that Bad Bunny is the top-rated artist on the planet, rivaled only by Taylor Swift in recent years, according to Spotify. He had 20 billion streams on the platform in 2025 alone. Well, John King is out front in Raymondville, Texas, which is a very important place, John, because it is in Willacy County, one of the most southernmost counties in Texas, almost 90% Hispanic according to the last census estimate, but Trump won it. He won it by 3 points. That is the swing that went to Trump in Hispanics, but also a swing district. So what does it mean when he attacks the most popular Latino musician in the world?
Aaron, Trump won this county, and he won this district in 2024, Texas 34, which is why you just listed the president's mega supporters, whether they're nationally known or whether you're finding in local politics. They think this is yet another example of the president pouring more kerosene on a crisis fire of his own making to begin with. The Latino vote was critical to Trump in 2024. Let's just look at his history. This is where Republicans think Trump's progress with Latinos. Can we translate this away from Trump to the entire Republican Party? In 2016, this is in Texas, 34% of the Latino vote. In 2020, that grew to 41%. In 2024, that grew to 55%. Now, some people are saying, well, Texas is a red state. It makes his win even bigger, but so what? The president had similar numbers nationally. That's why he won all the battleground states. And that's why Republicans were somewhat optimistic going into what they know will be a difficult midterm election year, that there were places like this with a lot of Latino voters where they could pick up some districts to offset Democratic gains elsewhere. Now, they already had a policy problem created by Trump. Even Hispanics who say, let's have a stronger border security, let's have a uniform, organized immigration process. You see it in the polling. It's not just Latino. You saw Trump's numbers and other numbers crater after people see what's happening in Minneapolis. That's a policy issue. This is more personal, more cultural. Nobody understands what he's saying. Well, here in Texas, most of the Latinos trace their heritage back to Mexico, not to Puerto Rico. A lot of them speak Spanish. A lot of bilingual homes. A lot of really proud people who, when they hear the President of the United States say that, a lot of them think, oh, that's a guy that doesn't respect it.
Yeah, well, it could easily come off that way. There's something else about this district. You talk about Texas 34 that I know you're watching closely, John. What is it?
So that, we are here for a reason. Republicans know it's a midterm election year and they're in charge. Therefore, you tend to lose. History says you lose seats. They also know they have the tiniest House majority. I can hold up a hand and have a few fingers left over when you get to the size of the Republican House majority right now. They know they're at risk of losing that majority, so they need to pick up seats. That's why this district is so important. Vicente Gonzalez is the Democratic incumbent, but he won by just a couple points. Trump won this district by 6. This was part of the redistricting. Texas Republicans redrew the line. If the 2024 lines were in place, the new lines were in place in 2024, Trump would have won by 10. Republicans redrew this. You see this candidate behind me. We don't know if he'll win the primary or Flores, but he's the Trump-endorsed Republican. They redrew this district so somebody like him could win among Latino votes. And now they're worried that ticket splitting is so rare in American politics, which is why Republicans targeted those 13 districts as essentially trade-offs. The Democrats are going to pick up somewhere. We need places to pick up. And so they think anytime Trump complicates his standing and the Republican Party standing with Latinos, he's making this race harder.
Yeah, well, that's absolutely fascinating. As you said, just Texas 34, what every single small place makes such a big difference at the end of the day. John King, thank you very much in Raymondville, Texas tonight. And next, a special report on how the Today Show is coming together for Savannah Guthrie.
Tonight on 350. The stories that matter. Anderson Cooper 360. Next on CNN.
Why choose a Sleep Number smart bed? Can it keep me warm when I'm cold?
Wait, no, I'm always hot.
Sleep Number doesn't matter.
Can I make my side softer?
I like my side firmer. Sleep Number does that. Your ideal for a instant effortless comfort all night. Can I help us sleep better and better? Sleep Number does that.
And now our best deals are on, including 50% off our limited edition mattress, plus 0% interest for 24 months. Check it out at sleepnumber.com or a Sleep Number store near you.
What do you think?
Even though they're growing up, they still need your guidance.
Like it?
Yeah, I like it. That's why last year, Instagram launched teen accounts, defaulting all teens into automatic protections for who can contact them and the content they can see. And we'll continue adding new safeguards. Instagram teen accounts with automatic protections.
As I started growing out my natural hair color, I noticed my moderate to severe lines. I booked a Botox cosmetic consultation to temporarily make my brow, crow's feet, and forehead lines look better. What was important to me was that I still look like me, just with fewer lines. And I'm confident about my results.
Botox cosmetic effects may spread hours to weeks after injection, causing serious symptoms. Alert your doctor right away as difficulty swallowing, speaking, breathing, eye problems, or muscle weakness may be a sign of a life-threatening condition. Patients with these conditions are at highest risk. Don't receive Botox cosmetic if you have skin infection. Side effects may include allergic reactions, injection site pain, headache, eyebrow, eyelid drooping, or swelling. Tell your doctor your medical history, muscle or nerve conditions, and medications including botulinum toxins, as these may increase the risk of serious side effects.
I'm the one and only Delphina, and I got treated with the one and only Botox cosmetic.
Find a licensed Botox cosmetic specialist at BotoxCosmetic.com.
Federal agents are executing and terrorizing American citizens, detaining and tear gassing children, creating chaos.
Are we really going to be the Gestapo? Where's your papers? Is that what we've come to?
Things are out of control when the government kills Americans and lies about the victims to cover up the crime. It's not law and order, and it's not leadership. Those responsible must be fired. President Trump, stop the abuse. Investigate the killings. It's gone too far.
There it is, Lee Moon, the 50-yard line. Soon we'll be telling the whole stadium how Liberty Mutual will customize his car insurance. To save people hundreds!
Looks like we're walking. Look at my hat. Only pay for what you need. Liberty, 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 liberty. I'll pretty much the game Let's do this.
Keep your love of Team USA alive with the Xfinity 5-year price guarantee. Xfinity. Imagine that. Sleep Number's best deals are on now, including no interest until 2029. Save on comfort that adapts to you, night after night. Shop now for a limited time, only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com. Heading home for the holidays, Dutch keeps your pet cared for, wherever you are. From virtual vet visits to expert advice on nutrition and behavior, bring peace of mind on the road. Get trusted, convenient care with Dutch.
This is an incredible story. The stakes were extremely high.
You could hear the gasp.
It's very difficult to determine whom you can trust.
747 still fall out of the sky.
Well, the three of us in this marriage.
Something went on that still is.
And finally tonight, Savannah Guthrie's Today Show family acknowledging on air how difficult it is to cover the story of her missing mother. Brian Stelter is out front.
Folks, we are asking for your grace as we continue to do this.
Sometimes it sounds corny and contrived when TV executives claim that morning TV teams are a family, but not these days. Not at the Today Show.
You know what, Craig? We always talk about our show as a family. We are a family.
Yes.
I'm part of the family. I'm happy to be with you because we show up for each other. So
Yes.
Former co-host Hoda Kotb back on the show on Monday, filling in for her friend Savannah Guthrie. Kotb also visited the show last Friday.
This whole thing's breaking my heart, and I'm happy to be sitting here with you. I feel like wandering around going like, where do you go?
Because we're your family, we're here.
Kotb read aloud messages from viewers.
Our Today Show viewers really are family. One writing, I have not stopped thinking about this. And from another, my heart is breaking for sweet Savannah and her entire family.
Viewers can sense the affection on the set, and that connection is invaluable while covering a story that's unbearable.
Savannah and Nancy have always shared an incredible bond, and over the years, she's become a second mom to me and to all of us.
As one conservative media critic put it, no offense to other shows, but you can really tell that on the Today Show, They really do not just like each other, but love each other. Back in the 90s, NBC spent millions billing Today as a true family. And viewers bought it, leading the show to an epic 16-year winning streak in the ratings. In 2012, Guthrie was promoted to co-anchor.
Live from Studio 1A in Rockefeller Plaza.
Guthrie helped start a new winning streak, and colleagues credit her for giving the show a family-like vibe. The hosts are genuine friends outside of work. They sometimes even pray together.
Savannah and I actually went to the same church, go to the same church here in New York.
The relationships have been forged through heartbreak. Copy recalled Guthrie's support when her daughter was sick.
I'm looking at us and I'm just thinking, like, who was first in the hospital room when Hope was sick? Savannah. Who hopped on the plane when your parents? Savannah. Who was sitting by Uche? How about when your brother passed? I mean, she was there.
And they are paying it forward now, galvanizing a nation into searching and praying for Nancy Guthrie.
And I'm told Savannah's been staying in touch with some of those friends, texting with some of them throughout this nightmare. As one NBC source said to me today, they're all just taking this hour by hour, hoping against hope for some glimmer of good news.
Brian, thank you very much. And law enforcement, you heard the FBI tonight, you heard Savannah tonight, asking anybody who has any information, no matter how far away from Tucson, anything, Savannah said, please call the FBI, 100, call FBI. Thank you for joining us. Casey for 60 Good Days now.
Tonight on 360, the deadline is done. Hours after Savannah Guthrie pleads to help the public in what she calls her family's hour of desperation. Also tonight, Bitcoin, doorbell camera, and DNA, the high-tech landscape of kidnapping cases is folding in, and how both sides of it, cops and crooks alike, navigate. And later, the unredacted Epstein file, what lawmakers saw on their first day of seeing the documents without large portions blacked out, and what Epstein accomplished, Ghislaine Maxwell told lawmakers today. We've just got the video and the pardon deal she's dangling for the president and new details from the files dealt with former Prince Andrew. Good evening. The second of two deadlines has now passed in the conspiracy in Guthrie 9 days ago. Deadlines laid out in a purported ransom note from purported kidnappers who offered no proof of life that we know of or the address and location of Miss Guthrie's 3 children. Just moments ago, the FBI issued a new statement on the absence of the reporting from it now. For more than a week, FBI agents, analysts, and professional staff have worked around the clock to reunite Nancy Guthrie with her family. The FBI is not aware of any communication between the Guthrie family and suspected kidnappers, nor have we identified a suspect or a person of interest in this case at this time. Again, that's the latest from the FBI just before airtime. Meantime, this afternoon, Savannah Guthrie posted another video to her Instagram account, this time addressed to everyone.
Hi there, everybody. I wanted to come on and just share a few thoughts as we enter into another week of this nightmare. I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much for all of the prayers and the love that we have felt, my sister and brother and I, and that our mom has felt. Because we believe that somehow, some way, she is feeling these prayers, and that God is lifting her even in this moment, and in this darkest place. We believe our mom is still out there. We need your help. Law enforcement is working tirelessly around the clock, trying to bring her home, trying to find her. She was taken and we don't know where. And we need your help. So I'm coming on just to ask you, not just for your prayers, but no matter where you are, even if you're far from Tucson, if you see anything, if you hear anything, if there's anything at all that seems strange to you, that you report to law enforcement. We are at an hour of desperation. We need your help.
That is now 4 videos the family just put out. 2 videos of Savannah with her sister Annie, brother Cameron, 1 video of Justin Cameron, and then the latest video of Savannah. Help is needed because as of today, police still say they have no suspects or persons of interest. None. Over the weekend, investigators searched the septic tank behind Nancy Guthrie's home. They say they'll continue with those visits tonight and tomorrow. In addition, on Saturday, Savannah Guthrie had this to say to whomever sent the reported ransomers to look into the TMZ since her mom's disappearance.
We received your message and we understand. We beg you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate. This is the only way we will have peace. This is very valuable to us, and we will help.
The ransom demand, according to CNN, affiliated K-Gun was $6 million by 5 p.m. today. Lieutenant Jake Capper is in Tucson, joins us now. Jake, is it clear to you at all why the FBI would put out that statement tonight, particularly the part about the absence of continued communication between the abductors and the Guthrie family?
Reading the tea leaves, it just does seem as though the communications, such as they were, have not continued the way that the Guthrie family would have hoped. And when you listen to the rest of the FBI statement, as well as the Pima County Sheriff, it does seem that there is this consistent theme from the Guthrie family, as voiced by Savannah earlier today, as well as the FBI, as well as the local sheriff's department, that they have no serious leads, and they really are just asking the public for help because the family and the FBI and the Pima County Sheriff are in an hour of desperation, as Savannah put it. The rest of the FBI statement says, quote, additional personnel from FBI field offices across the nation continue to deploy to Tucson, meaning they're sending more people here. We are currently operating a 24-hour command post that includes crisis management experts, analytic support, and investigative teams, but we still need the public's help. Someone has that one piece of information that can help us bring Nancy home. We need that person to share what they know. That's from the FBI. And just a few hours ago, the Pima County Sheriff put out a note saying, investigators have not identified any suspects, persons of interest, or vehicles connected to Nancy Guthrie. Anyone who believes they had information that may assist investigators is asked to contact 1-800-CALL-FBI or the Pima County Sheriff's Department emergency line 520-351-4900 or 88-CRIME. Now look, on one level, it's distressing news because 8 days into it, 9 days into it, depending when you start counting, they don't have any serious leads, they don't have any serious suspects, and that's distressing. On the other hand, pleas for the public help in the past have proved fruitful. If we look at the assassination of Charlie Kirk, putting out photographs led to the father of the alleged assailant convincing the son to turn himself in. Same thing with alleged killer of the United Healthcare CEO, Luigi Mangione. The pictures have been put out there, and some workers at a McDonald's in Altoona, Pennsylvania, realized who it was. So this of course doesn't have photographs of the assailants or the perpetrators, but lots of pictures of Nancy Guthrie. She's got to be a fairly well-known face at this point for people watching TV for the last week. And as the FBI says, there is someone out there who knows what's going on, someone other than the assailants, because it is likely that someone close to them or somebody who lives nearby has seen something.
Yeah. Jake Capper, I really appreciate it, Jake. Thank you very much. Joining me now is Senior Chief Law Enforcement and Intelligence Analyst John Miller, criminologist and behavioral analyst Casey Jordan, and former FBI Deputy Director Andrew McCabe. John, I mean, obviously this latest video from Savannah Guthrie is an appeal to the public, not to whomever may be involved in this. What does that say to you?
Well, here's what we know and what we don't know. We know there was an abduction. We know there was blood on the front steps. That's a strong suggestion that Nancy Guthrie may have been injured, even badly, as she was being taken. We know there was a ransom demand. Here's what we don't know, and that's how it figures into this message today. We do know there's a ransom demand, but we don't know that the people making that ransom demand actually have her. We have heard nothing about a proof of possession or a proof of life, and we don't know, ransom or no ransom, if that's the case, if that is something that they'll be able to produce, releasing her. So with all that uncertainty, I think what we're seeing now is Savannah Guthrie reaching out saying, while we're sorting through that, We don't want people to think that something is going on behind the curtain with negotiators and ransoms and drop-offs and returns, and that they need to stop looking. We're as lost now as we were before. We need everybody looking. And the FBI statement, which basically supports their message, does it two ways, which is somebody may have seen or heard something that they should report. If they're thinking of not reporting it, call it in. But they also say someone knows. Anderson, in all of these cases, in most of these cases, there's an accomplice who knew about the plan and decided not to take part. There's a spouse, there's somebody else. There's someone who didn't just see or hear something. There's someone who actually knows. And messages like this from the family, messages like this that will invite empathy and
it work. Now that the second deadline is seemingly has come and gone, and there's been no more communications, unless there's more communication, can they make any progress unless somebody comes forward?
Well, this is the divide here, which is if they are not communicating, not giving approval of life, not setting up a transfer of that person, maybe they're not real. And as for deadlines, if they're really in it for the money, the deadline's not going to matter if they think they're going to get paid. So it's in their interest to either keep communicating and produce, or to disappear because they're not who they say they are.
Andrew, I know you said this latest video doesn't strike you as a message that one would expect to hear from a family currently negotiating the return of their loved one. Is there a chance an investigator can determine the alleged ransom notes may not be legitimate, or could they be real but the family just hasn't had any additional contact?
I mean, both of those are possible. My strong suspicion is that at this point, having passed both of the deadlines, having never received the proof of life or proof of possession, having also, as far as we're aware, not received any details about what would happen if they paid before the deadline, right? You need some sort of communication from the kidnapper as to where and how to recover your loved one if you comply with the demand. And so I think it's likely that the investigators and the family have dismissed, at least for the time being, the messages they've received from this person, who has, as far as we know, has never contacted them and exchanged, and engaged in a two-way dialogue in any way. There's a lot about those messages that never really made any sense. I'm not surprised that it hasn't really resolved in returning Miss Guthrie.
So Casey, I mean, what strikes you about this latest message from Savannah Guthrie, that her appearance in the latest video, the message of it?
Well, let's just start by saying the one that she and her siblings put out on Saturday was really dark. It was dire. They were holding hands. They were talking in a cryptic language that suggested that they were grappling with the reality that Nancy may no longer be with us except in spirit. And today we see a different Savannah. She seems strong. She seems, if you will, angry. A little bit like, we need your help. She is exasperated. And she may be exasperated not just with the kidnappers, but with the advice she may have gotten from law enforcement or the FBI. She seems to be doing this on her own, maybe in a back bedroom away from her siblings, and maybe they don't even know she's posting it. But you see her in that hour of desperation. It is an 11th hour. It is just hours before the deadline, begging people to call in with anything at all. I guess I would have liked to see her do this earlier in the week. But I also see somebody who's deciding whether or not to push the send button on $6 million. Given that she has, as we are presuming, no proof of life, and there is no honor among thieves and kidnappers, and she could be paying this money with no guarantee that she'll ever hear a thing again, right? Yeah. Why would we trust to return Nancy in any condition? So I think that you received authentic Savannah, and I liked it. And I think she's feeling stronger emotionally and psychologically. And given that we don't know what's going to happen next, she's going to need to continue that attitude.
John, so if, to Andrew's point, if maybe this whole thing isn't real, maybe those messages are not legit, then why would somebody have taken Nancy Guthrie? I mean, if these communiques are not real and there's been no reach out, what does that say?
Well, it suggests alternative possibilities. A home invasion gone bad, a burglary where they were surprised by someone who they didn't think was home, something that lost control and turned into a murder. And then that bridges to, is this an opportunist who saw it in the headlines who decided to demand a ransom to see if somebody's sending millions of dollars? Or is this someone who may have been involved in that crime that night who said, let me get the spotlight off of me or the people around me and push it to this kidnapping?
But given the time, though, that she seems to have been abducted or taken, I mean, there can't have been that much vehicular traffic at the middle of the night or 2 a.m. or whatever it was in Tucson, Arizona, in this neighborhood. You would think there would at least be some video of cars that would be leaked.
You know, the houses are far from the road. There's a lot of shrubbery.
There's a Circle K nearby. I mean, you would think there's got to be some main road.
Well, they've been to the Circle K, and they've been to the Circle K about a suspicious vehicle, and they've had a report involving a white van. They've had a lot of tips that, you know, aren't in this conversation because they're running those tips down. Any of those could play into one or more of these alternative scenarios, or even the kidnap scenario. The point that Andy McCabe makes is, you know, without something that definitively shows us somebody has her, they have to be open to every one of these possibilities, which is why they're checking septic tanks and other things.
So Miller, case coordinator, Dave, thank you. Next, more the role of technology may be playing in the search for Nancy Guthrie as well as the advantage. Some of it, and we'll be discussing, might be giving her captors. Later, the Olympic-sized eruption the president is having because of what this Olympian said about America.
It brings up mixed emotions to represent the U.S. right now, I think. It's a little hard. There's obviously a lot going on that I'm not the biggest fan of, and I think a lot of people aren't.
Your home is your happy place until you come back to bad odors. Use Febreze plug-in. It has a microchip that alternates between 2 scents to fight odors and provide freshness for up to 50 days. Try Febreze Plug.
Federal agents are executing and terrorizing American citizens, detaining and tear gassing children, creating chaos.
Are we really going to be the Gestapo? Where's your papers? Is that what we've come to?
Things are out of control when the government kills Americans and lies about the victims to cover up the crime. It's not law and order, and it's not leadership. Those responsible must be fired. President Trump, stop the abuse. Investigate the killings. It's gone too far.
You know what's all good? Zero heartburn. That's why I take Prilosec OTC. Just one pill a day blocks heartburn before it starts. Unlike my friends here pumping that acid all day. Prilosec OTC. One pill, zero heartburn. All good.
Are your ears clogged? Nobody likes the feeling. Thankfully, there's a safe and simple way to clear them.
Whether it's from flying, altitude changes, or a cold, when your ears won't clear, Eustachi is here. Eustachi pops open the blocked ear tubes with its gentle stream of air while you swallow. It's all natural, drug-free, and easy to use anytime, anywhere.
Eustachi is a proven solution for ear congestion, and it is safe for the whole family.
Always travel with Eustachi because once you're in the air, it's too late.
I'm Boomer Esiason. The best time to protect your family is before you need to. I lost my mom as a kid, and we didn't have that safety net. Ethos lets you get life insurance in minutes, 100% online, no medical exam.
Check your price today at ethos.com.
The way that Monarch visualizes money is miles ahead of what I had before. It connects every account I have and shows me the full picture. From daily spending, investments, and net worth, Monarch gives me real control over my finances. Start your free trial at monarch.com.
At Amazon, all of the employees earn an average of over $23 an hour.
All right, what are we thinking?
Megacom.
Megacom. Oh, guess this is mine now.
At Amazon, skills training and apprenticeships can move hourly employees into higher paying roles, like robotics. And that's a way you can count on.
You're on.
What's the secret to peak health? Going Minecraft with Loom.
It's designed to minimize side effects and give me real weight loss. Yes, please.
I'm doing it.
I'm going micro.
Heck yeah.
Now starting at just $99.
Every business is looking for something to help it grow. A jumpstart, a lift, an edge, or even a boost. Introducing the 5-year business boost from Comcast Business. It's the certainty of a price lock for 5 years on the most reliable Wi-Fi with our best equipment. Plus, get a $500 prepaid card to seal the deal. The 5-year business boost, only from Comcast Business. It's the boost your business deserves. Comcast Business, powering possibilities.
Did you know that your life insurance policy is an asset that you can sell? Hi, I'm Jay Jackson. I'm the CEO of Abacus Life, and for almost 20 years, we've been purchasing life insurance policies from seniors just like you. In fact, you can use the free policy value calculator at abacuspace.com, and in just seconds, you can learn what your policy might be worth. There are no fees and no obligations. Get real value from your life insurance when you need it, without it.
The Source, tonight at 9 on CNN and watch on the CNN app.
Our breaking news: 9 days since Nancy Guthrie was last seen, and a new plea from her daughter Savannah, saying the family believes she's, quote, still out there, pleading for the public's help. Her message came as a 5 p.m. reported deadline near today in a ransom letter, according to local TV station K-Gun. Meanwhile, the Pima County Sheriff's Department says their investigation of the Guthrie home will continue tonight and tomorrow. They also revealed they've expanded their search. Here's Brian Kyle. So this night is from the high-tech school, they and the kidnappers may have their definitive.
The Guthrie case is a two-way battle in the technology sphere. The purported kidnappers are tech-savvy too, something the Pima County Sheriff acknowledges.
What are they doing? Covering the plans, removing the whatever it is, they know. And so it is a cat and mouse thing.
Officials say early on, Nancy Guthrie's doorbell camera was disconnected and removed. Motion was detected on the camera's software, but no video was available, apparently because Nancy Guthrie didn't have the required subscription. If the video isn't retrievable, one expert says, one tool that could provide clues is touch DNA technology, which could be used in the area near the doorbell camera.
You're leaving behind dead skin cells, and in that context, we're going to have access to a partial DNA profile, and they can actually create that and kind of amplify whose DNA this is.
Forensic expert Joseph Scott Morgan says authorities are also likely analyzing any data they can find from the connection between Nancy Guthrie's pacemaker and her cell phone or other technology, a connection that was severed in the early morning hours before her disappearance was reported. Other ways officials are casting a technological net:
we're downloading and analyzing cell phones, obtaining cell tower information.
Surveillance footage is also crucial, experts say, to try to put together a video trail of the possible captors.
I think the bread and butter here are going to be ring cam, CCTV, anything that they can, kind of pull in. And they will have gone to, I would imagine, just about every residence up and down that street, and also places like churches, convenience stores, maybe a dry cleaner, anywhere where a car would have passed through that area.
Technology could also help investigators track the captors through their reported demand for millions of dollars in Bitcoin. Experts say that while you cannot immediately see who Bitcoin is being sent from or to, the movement of funds on the Bitcoin network is still traceable. That trail becomes especially clear once criminals receive the payment and try to cash out by moving the Bitcoin through a cryptocurrency exchange.
That is where ultimately law enforcement can send legal process or work with a compliance team and in exchange to block those funds and ultimately seize them back. It's also the place where you can get the most valuable information about the user behind that cryptocurrency address.
But analysts say there really is a limit to how much technology can be effective in this case. Forensic expert Joseph Scott Morgan says that investigators are still going to have to physically knock on doors, question neighbors, question fellow churchgoers, question everyone in Nancy Guthrie's inner circle, find out who had intimate knowledge of her comings and goings and who had motive. Technology, he says, simply can't help with some of those answers. Anderson?
Brian, thank you. I want to bring in retired FBI Special Agent Michael Easter, who worked for more than a decade with Bureau's Cellular Analysis Survey team. Michael, thanks for coming back. It's a lack of technical coverage the biggest technological blind spot, you think, in this case? Because obviously, you know, it struck a lot of people as baffling that even in a somewhat rural part of Tucson, there wouldn't be more surveillance cameras or traffic cameras or something that would have given authorities at least an image of a suspicious person or vehicle.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with you, Anderson. I would add into the nature of the properties not being at curb line or street level, and that you see a lot of the properties back up against tree line. That would make it difficult for your traditional ring cameras to capture the comings and goings along the primary roadways. One would hope, and I've had experience with this with other cases, is that in addition to the more overt ring type cameras, that some of the properties would have covert cameras, things such as game cameras, or things that they didn't want to broadcast that they were using to collect CCTV. I would also add that you have to remember that in addition to CAS, the FBI has a program called Divert, and that's our digital imagery and video recovery teams. And they will put together and stitch together not only cameras in this immediate residence or neighborhood, but throughout that area of Tucson to include likely routes of travel in and out, freeways, and even businesses. And they'll stitch that together in a very dynamic way that investigators can see the location of the camera, what was actually captured, so that it can be related to other digital evidence, to include interviews and generate leads.
How tough is it for a person on the scene to not leave DNA? I mean, you obviously see people wearing, you know, they say gloves in movies. I assume there are a lot of other ways one can leave DNA behind, hairs falling off your head.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think if somebody's already gone to the extent that they're going to make the effort to remove digital cameras and make some type of effort to remove the victim from the property, that they've thought that far ahead. And so I would be surprised if you're going to see accidental DNA. We're going to have to hope, or I would say purposeful DNA, we're going to have to hope for that accidental DNA, that they made a mistake, a glove ripped, or they, you know, we've seen other cases where they just left something behind by accident.
Like you said, I appreciate you being on again. Thank you. We're going to have more on the kidnapping of Nancy Guthrie later in the program, bringing the breaking developments immediately. But up next, the U.S. Olympian, labeled a real loser, his words, by President Trump, after daring to express his own opinion, has put out another statement. We'll bring that to you. And members of Congress have begun reviewing unredacted versions of the Epstein files. We'll talk with one of them and investigative journalist Timothy Brad, here with exclusive news reporting.
Hi, Susan. Honey, I respect that, but that cough was pretty bad. Try this Robitussin honey. The only brand with Trip Source certified honey. Mind if I root for your trash? The powerful cough relief you need.
Here's Chris coming in with the Leaf Filter Gun Report.
From blizzards and downpours through windstorms or heat waves, no matter where you live, Leaf Filter keeps your gutters smog-free year-round. Schedule your free inspection today. Call 833-LEAF-FILTER or visit leaffilter.com.
For those with depression not getting enough relief from their antidepressants, adding Caplyta can help you let you know, providing greater relief from depression symptoms than an antidepressant alone. And unlike some medications, Caplyta is also proven to deliver significant symptom relief from both bipolar 1 and 2 depression.
Elderly dementia patients have increased risk of death or stroke. Caplyta is not approved for dementia-related psychosis. Call your doctor about new or sudden mood changes, behaviors, or suicidal thoughts right away. Antidepressants may increase these risks. Report fever, confusion, stiff muscles, which may be life-threatening, or uncontrolled muscle movements, which may be permanent. High cholesterol and blood may occur, as can high blood sugar, which may be fatal. Common side effects are sleepiness, dizziness, nausea, dry mouth, feeling tired, and diarrhea. These aren't all the side effects.
Ask your doctor about Caplyta.
When you need longer-lasting body pain relief, try Aleve. Just one dose of Aleve provides pain relief for up to 12 hours from all types of body pain. Aleve, longer-lasting body pain relief.
Have you ever felt so sluggish that it was like you were stuck in your chair? Like you didn't feel energetic enough for even routine activity? I've been there. And as a doctor, I knew this could be a sign that my digestive system wasn't working at its best. So I followed the same advice I give my patients and started taking Metamucil fiber every day.
Metamucil is the only leading brand with plant-based psyllium fiber that gels to help trap and remove waste, so you can feel lighter in as little as 14 days.
After trying it for 2 weeks, I decided to keep taking Metamucil every day to help eat my health goals.
Metamucil psyllium fiber also helps curb cravings between meals, helps lower cholesterol to support heart health, and helps maintain healthy blood sugar levels. That's why Metamucil is the #1 fiber brand recommended by doctors, pharmacists.
And gastroenterologists like me.
Metamucil, digestive health starts here. Scan to shop or visit these fine retailers today.
Force Factor Hair Growth Accelerator promotes thicker, fuller, healthier hair in just 3 weeks. Hair Growth Accelerator contains a clinically studied key ingredient that quickly accelerates hair growth and reduces fine lines and wrinkles. Search Amazon now for Force Factor Hair Growth Accelerator.
Total Beets, America's best-selling beef brand, is available at Costco. Total Beets Healthy Blood Pressure Soft Chews contain a key ingredient clinically shown to support healthy blood pressure. Take control of your health. Head to Costco and get Total Beets Healthy Blood Pressure Soft Chews today.
Before Orange County, I was treating everyone's health, except my own. But not anymore. Those 6 a.m. classes were the game changer. I was burning fat, building muscle. I mean, I didn't even know I could have biceps and abs. I've gone down 6 sizes, have more energy to give. Now I'm living proof of what's possible. Just try it. Book a free class at orangetheory.com.
Total Beets, America's best-selling beef brand, is available at Costco. Total Beets Healthy Blood Pressure Soft Chews contain a key ingredient clinically shown to support healthy blood pressure. Take control of your health. Head to Costco and get Total Beets Healthy Blood Pressure Soft Chews today.
Well, tonight, U.S. Olympic skier Hunter Hess is defending his right to speak out. In a post on Instagram, he writes, "I love my country. There's so much that's great about America, but there are always things that could be better. One of the many things that makes this country so amazing is that we have the right and the freedom to point that out. The best part of the Olympics is that it brings people together, and when so many of us are divided, we need that more than ever. I cannot wait to represent Team USA next week when I compete." He was responding to a public review from President Trump this weekend after saying this on Friday, the winner takes it all.
It brings up mixed emotions to represent the U.S. right now, I think. It's a little hard. There's obviously a lot going on that I'm not the biggest fan of, and I think a lot of people aren't. Just because I'm wearing the flag doesn't mean I represent everything that's going on in the U.S. So yeah, I just kind of want to do it for my friends and my family and the people that support me getting here.
Well, the president criticized him in a post on Truth Social, quote, "U.S. Olympic skier Hunter Hess, a real loser, says he doesn't represent his country in the current Winter Olympics. If that's the case, he shouldn't have tried out for the team, and it's too bad he's on it. Very hard to root for someone like this." Other U.S. Olympians are also speaking out, including snowboarder Chloe Kim and skier Chris Lillis, who says he's heartbroken about the raids by ICE and the protests that they've sparked.
I love the USA, and I think I would never want to represent a different country in the Olympics. With that being said, I think that as a country, we need to focus on respecting everybody's rights and making sure that we're treating our citizens as well as anybody with love and respect.
I'm really proud to represent the United States. The U.S. has given my family and I so much opportunity, but I also think that we are allowed to voice our opinions on what's going on, and I think that we need to lead with love and compassion, and I would love to see some more of that.
Former Republican Congressman Adam Kinzinger is here. He's a CNN political commentator. Congressman, of course the president goes after this young man. What does it say about where the U.S. is as a nation when the president calls an American Olympian a real loser because he expressed a nuanced feelings?
Listen, Anderson, there was nothing in any of those sound bites that should have even been controversial. I mean, yeah, you can disagree with things. This is the United States of America. What is astounding to me? First off, I thought they handled that very maturely, and by the way, they were asked about it. What is astounding to me, Anderson, is the President of the United States, the most powerful man in the world, is so tiny and thin-skinned and whiny and a victim of everything. that he's taking his time because he got offended by somebody in their 20s that doesn't love what he's doing. 70% of the country doesn't love what you're doing, Donald. I'm sorry. But the idea that the President of the United States has the time to even know what's going on there is insane. We are on the eve of potential strikes in Iran, right? There's all kinds of things going on around the world. Tonight, probably Ukraine was hit again and again by the Russians. And this is Donald Trump's obsession. And I don't think there's anybody that really can see Donald Trump to this angry and be like, yeah, that's normal for a president. They may not admit it, but everybody knows this is nuts.
Monica Crowley, the U.S. government's chief of protocol, of all people, reposted the president's attack on Hunter Hess, added, quote, represent America with pride, or GTFO, as in get the F out. I mean, this is like someone in a bar yelling, like, America, love it or leave it, at somebody who, again, just expresses a very basic, nuanced opinion that may not be your own, but, I mean, I do not understand. I think you're talking about the president having the time to do this. I guess this is when he's not watching Kid Rock or, tweeting about Bad Bunny.
I mean, look, this is the United States government. So Trump is the most powerful man in the world. He's the head of the government. Now you have other members of the government. I mean, here's the other thing that's just so weird. And I'm sad because people, if they don't start paying attention until they're like 15 years old to politics, that means people under the age of 25 have no clue what politics should be like. It is not supposed to be an obsession about culture wars. The halftime show yesterday, I was just thinking about this, and I'm saying this as somebody that was, a conservative always, like, every halftime show, for 1,000 years they've been upset about what happens at the halftime show. Everything is a culture war. Everything is a fight. Everything is a grievance. And Trump is always a victim. And this comes out of the movement that I was part of that used to believe in strength. The strength of the individual, the strength of the man, right? Nobody's gonna, and the most powerful man in the world is whining. It's sad. It's probably not even worth our time to talk about it, except it's the president of the United States, and the rest of the world is watching this too. What is going on with you guys in America?
Yeah, it's stunning, but I guess not surprising. Adam Kinzinger, thank you. We've just gotten a video of Ghislaine Maxwell's congressional testimony today. That's next, along with what lawmakers learned in their first day of access to the unredacted Epstein files, which they've been trying to get access to now. More as well on the Guthrie case and other notorious kidnappings, specifically the role of ransom notes, which generally not in the clip.
But like on News for You, new episode Saturday at 9 on CNN, and next day on the CNN app.
Phenylephrine is approved for adults with bipolar 1 disorder with acute, mixed, or manic episodes. Unlike some drugs for bipolar 1 disorder, nausea, vomiting, and restlessness are not common with Fanapt. Fanapt may be associated with serious side effects. Elderly patients with dementia-related psychosis treated with antipsychotics are at increased risk of stroke or death. Fanapt is not approved for elderly with dementia-related psychosis. Fanapt prolongs the QT interval and may be associated with abnormal heart rhythm or sudden death. In 5% or more of people in clinical trials, heart rate increases, dizziness, hypertension, weight gain, dry mouth, stuffy nose, sleepiness, and increases in liver enzymes have been observed. These are not all the side effects. Talk to your prescriber and learn more at fanapt.com by Vanda Pharmaceuticals.
We know why you put off your best smile. The time, the cost, the anxiety. That's why Aspen Dental is changing how dentistry is done. With leading implant and denture technology and on-site labs that get you in and out. No more waiting for tomorrow. Now's your time to experience the Aspen Dental difference. Get started with 0 down, 0 interest, and paid in full within 18 months. Aspen Dental. It's time to smile again.
Machine learning is advancing, but businesses wonder if some machines can keep up. Let's welcome our new coworker, Jeff.
Copier is a great idea.
One has the same idea as yesterday. It's a performance issue, really.
fine when people push your buttons, but you still have to deliver.
Anything can change the world of work. ADP Assist is AI, informed by workplace data, and designed for the next anything.
Why are so many people buying a toothpaste that is so expensive? Because Dr. Wolf's Bionic is the only toothpaste with 20% hydroxyapatite that brushes on the enamel surface. Poor oral health is way more expensive. Dr. Wolf's Bionic, available at Amazon.
You want to file free? Hey.
What's the secret to peak health? Going micro with Loom! Micro habits, micro wins, even microdose GLP-1s.
And starting at just $99? Heck yeah.
Now starting at just $99.
Tap into the data you need to see the market your way. Introducing the new Power eTrade Pro, your ultimate desktop trading platform. It gives savvy traders like you nearly unlimited customization with up to 120 tools across 6 workspaces, plus automatic pattern recognition and education built right into the charts. Finally, a platform that thinks like you, from the original place to trade online.
Advil liquid gels are faster and stronger than Tylenol rapid release gels. Also from Advil targeted relief, the only topical with 4 powerful pain-fighting ingredients that start working in contact and lasts up to 8 hours.
This is the true story of Alex. Recently promoted, he was earning more, but investing for the future,
I definitely needed a plan.
with his advisor Dennis, Alex invested his savings into 3 accounts, one for now, one for later, and of course his retirement. A plan in motion put the future in focus. The wedding, the barn and mini, kids,
Maybe kids.
The point here, Alex has more than big goals for his future. He's got a plan to get there.
More breaking news shortly before airtime, the House Oversight Committee released a video of Ghislaine Maxwell's testimony today. Appearing remotely from her so-called Club Fed minimum security prison camp in Texas, she had nothing to say beyond this. That's 11 times in all, invoking her Fifth Amendment right, which was widely expected. Not expected, however, was her message to the president offering to speak, quote, fully and honestly if granted clemency by President Trump. The offer, including that promise, came in a statement from her attorney, who added that his client would clear both the president and former President Clinton of any wrongdoing. Also today, lawmakers got their first look at unredacted items from the Epstein files, with some coming away skeptical about the names the Justice Department has chosen to conceal.
What I saw that bothered me were the names of at least 6 men that have been redacted that are likely incriminated by their inclusion in these files. So that's the first thing that I saw. It took some digging to find them. Our law was very clear. Unless something was classified, it required it to be unredacted. And they have not complied with that law.
Congressman Ro Khanna, who serves on the House Oversight Committee, joins us shortly. Committee Chairman Massey earlier today also weighed in sharply on Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick. Secretary Lutnick, you'll remember, recently said that he cut ties with Epstein in 2005, vowing, he said, to, quote, never be in the room with that disgusting person ever again. The files suggest otherwise, showing what appears to be contact as recently as 2015. Asked today whether Lutnick should testify before the committee, Chairman Massey said this.
No, he should just resign. I mean, there's 3 people in Great Britain that have resigned as politicians.
Also, the former Prince Andrew today got one more thing to worry about. His brother King Charles is reportedly ready to support police in their investigation, British police in their investigation of reported files that Andrew allegedly shared confidential material with Epstein during his role as UK trade envoy. On top of that, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer spent the day trying to save his job after Congressman Massey mentioned the resignations of several key advisors in connection with the Epstein scandal. Joining us now, California Democratic Congressman Ro Khanna sits on the House Oversight Committee, sat in on the Maxwell testimony, reviewed some of the unredacted files today. So, Congressman, what are your biggest takeaways after doing some of those unredacted documents?
That too much of it was still redacted. Anderson, you'll remember that in March,
the FBI had 1,000 personnel going through these files. Donald Trump had ordered them to go through the files. And they made many redactions. And it looks like what happened is those files were redacted then, and then they sent them over to Justice, and Justice kept those redactions. Well, the FBI works for Van Bondi, and they need to unscrub the redactions that the FBI made to comply with the Epstein Transparency Act.
So even the files you saw were redacted?
I'd say 70 to 80% of them were redacted. They made 302 statements where survivors talked about who raped them. All of that was still redacted. Now, we did find information about some excessive redactions where there were 6 men in the 2 hours we reviewed who should not have been redacted, and I do hope the Justice Department makes that public. Some of the most sensational emails, frankly, some of the redactions may have been legitimate because some of them were from women, some of them may have been survivors. But the broader theme is that a lot of this was redacted back in March before we passed the law, and the law requires an unscrubbing of those files so we know who the powerful men were who visited the island and raped these girls, and that was never done.
You were at Maxwell's deposition with the House Oversight Committee today. She invoked her Fifth Amendment right multiple times and also promised to clear President Trump's name in exchange for clemency. I'm wondering what your takeaway was from that and the whole deposition itself.
I was outraged. I mean, she spent hours talking to Deputy Attorney General Blanche and answering his questions. Yet when it came to the Oversight Committee, whether there were Republican or Democratic questions, she took the blanket Fifth Amendment, even though we were asking her nothing about incriminating herself, just asking her who else came to the island. Who else do you know that could have trafficked in girls? And then she says, well, I do have this information. I know this information, but I'm only going to share it if you give me clemency and don't have any prosecution. That's not how things work. She should be sent back to the maximum security prison.
We played that clip where you and Congressman Massey said there are at least 6 men whose names have been redacted and should be incriminated by their inclusion in the files. Can you elaborate more on that? Is it clear? Was that part of the group that was redacted in the first place?
No, that is not part of the group. It doesn't look like that was part of the group that was redacted in the first place. There are certain documents that say there are 10 co-conspirators, 15 co-conspirators. In that document, some of them were women. Now, I don't know if those women were survivors or not survivors, but we give the benefit of the doubt that many of those were survivors who also happened to be co-conspirators, and they appropriately redacted them. But there are 6 men in those documents, some of them foreign-born, a couple of them in the United States with their pictures, and there's actually no explanation for why they were redacted. Now, we just discovered 6 men in a 2-hour review. My guess is there are more of those people, and we are going to petition the Justice Department to release that. That could have been incompetence and a cover-up. The broader cover-up, though, that I'm concerned about is the scrubbing that took place in March in the FBI files, where all of this redacted information was then sent to the Justice Department. I think U.S. attorneys looked at it in good faith, but they were looking at documents that were already redacted. So when I said to the Justice Department person, it was very nice, helping me search through the documents, I said, why are these redacted? He said, well, sir, we got them this way. So we just were putting them up before we got them. And that is the big issue that needs to be addressed.
Congressman O'Connell, as always, I appreciate your time. Thank you. Joining me now is Julia Brown, award-winning investigative reporter for the Miami Herald, whose work was instrumental in exposing the extent of Jeffrey Epstein's crimes. She's also the author of The Version of Justice, the Jeffrey Epstein Story. Tonight, Julie, you got a new report from the Miami Herald, and it's entitled Trump Told Palm Beach Police Chief Everyone Knew About Epstein, Maxwell Was Evil. So, Julie, your new reporting in the Herald tonight is about comments that Citizen Trump allegedly made to the Palm Beach police some 20 years ago about Epstein and Maxwell. Can you just walk us through it?
Yes. To put this in context, this was in July of 2006, and it was right around the time that Epstein was arrested, and that there were stories in the media about him being accused of having sex or sexually abusing minors at his mansion. And it was right after that story broke in Palm Beach that Trump called the Palm Beach police chief, who he knew well because, you know, Trump knew a lot of people in Palm Beach, including the chief, and made this comment to the effect that, you know, everyone knew that first he wanted to thank the police for finally stopping him because, again, Epstein was finally arrested at this time, and then said everybody knew. And he also goes on to describe how or to tell the police to really take a good look at Maxwell because she was sort of the quote unquote operative and she was evil. And he also mentioned that he had been in some kind of a space with Epstein and a bunch of teenage girls. It bothered him and he said, I got the hell out of there. So this is in the context of Trump finding out that Epstein is really being scrutinized now for what he was doing with underage girls and coming to the Palm Beach police chief and saying, you know, well, thank you, you know, everybody knew he was doing this. So it sort of contradicts some of the statements that Trump has made in the past, saying that he really didn't know anything about what Epstein was doing with underage girls.
Now, have you gotten comment from the White House on this? Because we asked the administration to comment. A DOJ official told us, quote, we're not aware of any corroborating evidence that the president contacted law enforcement 20 years ago.
Well, they could look in their Epstein files because this is a FBI document that's contained in the files, which we've attached to the story, and also I sent to them. They sent me the same statement. So, you know, I don't know what they mean by cooperating, but this is a document that is clearly in the files that as I said, I sent to them.
It's remarkable because in your article, it really goes into detail about Palm Beach police investigating, seeing schoolgirls going into, apparently schoolgirls, girls with braces and backpacks going into Epstein's mansion, them developing a case, taking it to prosecutors, and prosecutors not pursuing it.
That's right. This was part of my original investigation back in 2018, where we realized that Palm Beach police had made a very thorough investigation, had dozens of victims that they had interviewed, and they wanted to prosecute him for a state crime, for sexual assault or crimes involving sex with minors. And the state attorney at the time backed down and said he didn't want to charge him with something so serious. In fact, he was going to just charge Epstein with solicitation. The police chief balked at that and said, there's no way you're just going to charge him with a solicitation charge. And eventually the police chief, Michael Ryder, who was a true behind-the-scenes hero in this story, went over the state attorney's head and took the case to the FBI.
And according to your reporting, Epstein hired investigators to basically follow the police and go through their garbage to try to find incriminating stuff about police officers.
They really tried to damage the police's, I mean, they dug into everything. They were trying to call you know, Epstein hired publicists to plant stories in the media that were negative of the police chief, that it was some kind of a vendetta by the police. I mean, it was just very baseless claims that they were making to try to discredit the police, the detective, the victims. They followed the victims, they followed the victims' families. I mean, it was an all-out campaign to discredit anyone who was trying to implicate or accuse Epstein of any of these crimes.
Well, Julie K. Brown, I appreciate you being on. Thank you. Coming up next, we're going to return to the disappearance of Nancy Godfrey. Her daughter, Savannah, releasing that new video this afternoon, pleading to public health. No mention of tonight's alleged ransom deadline. We'll look at how these kind of ransom notes have been a factor in some other high-profile cases.
Federal agents are executing and terrorizing American citizens, detaining and tear gassing children, creating chaos.
Are we really going to be the Gestapo? Where's your papers? Is that what we've come to?
Things are out of control when the government kills Americans and lies about the victims to cover up the crime. It's not law and order, and it's not leadership. Those responsible must be fired. President Trump, stop the abuse. Investigate the killings. It's gone.
too far.
When Betty and George switched to consumer cellular, it saved them a lot. So they started splurging on date night. No, don't you dare. It's an acquired taste. Right now, get your second month free. Call Consumer Cellular.
You've got better things to do than clean out clogged gutters. Call Leaf Filter today. And never clean out clogged gutters again.
Leaf Filter technology keeps debris out of your gutters for good. Guaranteed. Call 833 Leaf Filter today or visit leaffilter.com.
New Sensodyne Clinical Repair is absolutely amazing. When your teeth are sensitive, they need special care. New Sensodyne Clinical Repair creates a protective shield over those exposed areas that can help repair sensitive areas of teeth after 60 seconds. I recommend Sensodyne Clinical Repair.
My dad has never been in better shape. He had a stroke and passed away. He had a life insurance policy. Ethos.com. In 10 minutes, you can be covered with life insurance.
Check your price today at ethos.com. Managing money together has always been stressful.
We don't share bank accounts or credit cards, but with Monarch, we don't need to.
Everything's in one clear view, and we're finally on the same page.
Seeing the whole picture changed everything for us.
Start your free trial today at monarch.com.
You know what's all good? Zero heartburn. That's why I take Prilosec OTC. Just one pill a day blocks heartburn before it starts. Unlike my friends here popping an acids all day. Prilosec OTC. One pill, zero heartburn. All good.
I wish I wasn't afraid to smile. I wish I could get implants.
I wish I knew who to trust.
I'm not looking for another quick fix.
I want a smile I know will last. Clear Choice smiles are made to stand the test of time. They're built by dental implant experts, backed by 20 years of pioneering research and a lifetime warranty on premium arches. Our smiles are built for life. Schedule your free consultation today.
Total Beats, America's best-selling beef brand, is available at Costco. Total Beats Healthy Blood Pressure Soft Chews contain a key ingredient clinically shown to support healthy blood pressure. Take control of your health. Head to Costco and get Total Beats Healthy Blood Pressure Soft Chews today.
Sleep Number's best deals are on now. Take 50% off our limited edition mattress, plus 0% interest for 24 months on comfort that adapts to you night after night. Shop now for a limited time, only at a Sleep Number store or sleepnumber.com.
You'll get indoors. No, really, I've tried them all, but something better has entered the chat. That something is Tovala. You just scan a code, sit back, and let the Tovala do the rest. Fresh, effortless meals that cook themselves. Yeah, it's a vibe. Get started at Tovala.com.
Total Beats, America's best-selling beef brand, is available at Costco. Total Beats Healthy Blood Pressure Soft Chews contain a key ingredient clinically shown to support healthy blood pressure. Take control of your health. Head to Costco and get Total Beats Healthy Blood Pressure Soft Chews today.
The Source with Caitlin Collins, next on CNN.
Returning to the Nancy Guthrie disappearance, more than reported ransom note and the $6 million in Bitcoin, which was apparently due at 5 p.m. Time zone unclear, according to TV station KGUN. Now, officials have not authenticated it. They have been taking it seriously. Mrs. Guthrie's daughter, Savannah, made no mention of that deadline in her video this afternoon, but said we are at an hour of desperation. CNN's Randy Kay looks at how ransom demands have played a role in other cases over the years.
The day after Christmas, 1996, a ransom note is discovered in John Benet Ramsey's house.
The note was lying across the 3 pages across the run of one of the stair tracks. And I started to read it. It said, "We have your daughter." And I immediately ran back upstairs and pushed open her door, and she was not in her bed.
The note says, quote, "If you want her to see 1997, you must follow our instructions. It demands $118,000. The kidnappers say they represent a small foreign faction and sign it SBTC. The letter was a ruse. Jean Benet was already dead. Her killer or killers have never been identified." Decades earlier, in 1960, Adolph Coors III, heir to the Coors Brewing Company fortune, is kidnapped in Colorado. The ransom demand, $200,000 in 10s and $300,000 in 20s. The ransom note tells Mrs. Coors to contact the kidnapper about the money by placing an ad in the Denver Post for a tractor in Section 69. She does that, but never hears back. Authorities trace it all to a man named Joseph Corbett Jr., who had escaped prison in California. In September 1960, Mr. Coors' remains are found. His killer, Corbett, is later caught in Canada, convicted of murder, and sentenced to life in prison. When newspaper heiress Patty Hearst was kidnapped in 1974,
Patty, still screaming, was dragged out to a waiting car and thrown into a trunk.
her captors, who identify themselves as the Symbionese Liberation Army, send a ransom note demanding the release of 2 recently arrested members. Then California Governor Ronald Reagan denies that, which leads to a new demand, a multi-million-dollar food giveaway for the poor. Still, Patty is not released.
We love you, Patty, and we're all praying for you.
Soon, she's caught on camera participating in robberies with the radical group. She's arrested nearly 2 years later and sent to prison. In what many consider the crime of the century, the kidnapping of famed aviator Charles Lindbergh's son, there were 13 ransom notes in all.
The little boy was kidnapped from his second-floor bedroom. Left behind was a crudely written ransom note that demanded $50,000 for the return of the child.
The ransom notes warn against contacting police. Riddled with spelling errors, they read, "After 2 to 4 days, we'll inform you where to deliver the money." Months later, the boy is found dead. A man named Bruno Hoffman, eventually executed for his murder. His conviction partially secured based on handwriting analysis from all those ransom notes. Randy Kay, CNN.
That's it for us. The news continues. I'll see you tomorrow night. The source with Taylor Collins starts now.
We start with breaking news tonight because we are now in day 9 of the search for Nancy Guthrie, with authorities making clear tonight they have no major leads as of this moment. The FBI is now seeking the public's help in the search for the Today Show host Savannah Guthrie's mom, issuing a direct appeal tonight that says someone has that one piece of information that can help us bring Nancy home. The FBI also adding in this new statement tonight they are not aware of any continued communication between the Guthrie family and the suspected kidnappers, nor have we identified a suspect or person of interest in this case at this time. It is a remarkable statement this many days in, and it shows just how much this search is very much still underway tonight. It also comes as we are hearing from Savannah Guthrie herself making a similar call to action more than a week after her mom went missing from her Tucson home. In a new video that was posted online today, the Today Show anchor described this as her family's hour of desperation.
We believe our mom is still out there. We need your help. Law enforcement is working tirelessly around the clock trying to bring her home, trying to find her. She was taken and we don't know where. And we need your help. So I'm coming on just to ask you, not just for your prayers, but no matter where you are, even if you're far from Tucson, if you see anything, if you hear anything, if there's anything at all that seems strange to you, that you report to law enforcement. We are at an hour of desperation. We need your help.
2 hours have now passed since that final deadline that was set, and that still unverified ransom note that was sent shortly after Guthrie disappeared. And according to our CNN affiliate, KGUN, which is one of the 3 outlets that got that first note, the person, people here, demanded $6 million in Bitcoin by 5 p.m. local time today and threatened Nancy Guthrie's life. That deadline was not met. Now this evening, neither the authorities in Arizona nor the Guthrie family have confirmed that any ransom has been paid. Of course, the horrific ultimatum appears to have led the Guthrie family there to tell whoever it is that has their mom that they would be willing to do so. A second unverified note related to Guthrie's disappearance was sent to a Tucson news station last week. One of the anchors who read that second note that I spoke with on Friday night said it did not appear to be a ransom note. There was no demand explicitly that was made in that letter. A day later, the Guthrie family acknowledged that they had gotten a message.
We received your message, and we understand. We thank you now to return our mother to us so that we can celebrate with her. This is the only way we can. This is very valuable to us, and we will have.
Yes, of course.
My lead source tonight got the initial unverified ransom note for Nancy Guthrie. TMZ found that on 11 this year, and thank Congress for being here. Because I mean, when you read this new FBI statement tonight, it's very lengthy, but the line that stood out to me was them saying they're not aware of any continued communication between the Guthrie family and suspected kidnappers, and that they don't have a suspect or a person of interest in this case. And just given that you got the first unverified ransom note, I wonder what you make of that statement tonight.
Well, I think it aligns with Savannah Guthrie's desperate plea today. We checked this Bitcoin address because in the first note, they give this Bitcoin address to send the money. And we have been checking it all day long. You would be able to see if money was deposited. We are not seeing anything deposited. So when I watched Savannah Guthrie talk today, it felt like, figuratively, a Hail Mary, saying we are getting nowhere with these alleged kidnappers, and we need the public's help. If they paid the money, I will tell you this, Caitlin, the letter says that if they pay the money, Nancy would be returned within 12 hours of the time they receive payment, returned to Tucson. So you would think that if they paid it and everything was working properly, they would be biting their nails but not saying anything publicly. Everything just collapsed, and they are just making it public because they are not in contact with the kidnappers. The only part of this that I'm thinking maybe they did pay money is in that second ransom. The report from KLD said that it wasn't a ransom. It's possible that there was a new Bitcoin address on that. I have no idea, but that's the only way it could have been paid, or we wouldn't see it, because in the ransom that we have, we're just checking that link and we're not seeing it.
Yeah. Did that original note say that if the family did pay, how they would confirm that they had gotten the money?
No, it does not say that. It's very correct point, and they made it clear. I'll even read this to you. It says, it is in the best interest of everyone to have this completed as soon as possible. And so, now it's been a week. And they've gone back and forth. And I do think there was something cryptic about Savannah talking about celebrating with their mother. It's almost as if maybe in that second note they did show some kind of hint of life, and the word celebrate is used because otherwise it's out of context. But it is direct to the point. They don't talk about how they will acknowledge payment. They just are saying, send it to this Bitcoin address, and presumably if they did, people would see that the money was deposited.
I imagine you probably read that initial note a million times since you got it, and just especially given it's been so long now and still no major leads tonight. Has anything stood out to you in hindsight, given now what you've heard from Savannah and from her siblings, when you look at that again?
Yeah. Yes. It is a very well-written note. It is structured properly, the grammar is perfect. This is somebody who is intelligent, and somebody who is tech savvy for sure, because this seems untraceable. And so our IT team has been looking, the FBI has been looking, and they haven't been able to find consensus. That seems to be what they're saying today, when they're saying most things are group of interest. So, to me,
this is somebody in the Tucson area. Because why else would they be sending these notes to two local television stations in Tucson? And they seem to have a connection there. You know, they would send it to NBC if they're from New York. We would send it to Savannah Guthrie's employer, NBC. But they are really focused. I know they sent the first one to us, but they're focused on these television stations in Tucson. So to me, it stands to reason somebody in that area, and you know, and I can tell you, it's definitely somebody with a 700-mile radius, because the note says that we will return her within 12 hours of receiving and that's 700 miles. So I think it's somebody in the Tucson area. So to me, you know, it's sort of like who's gone MIA, who's really intelligent and tech savvy, you know, over the last week. You know, unless it's some journey that nobody knows, that would seem to me to be at least some, you know, tenable clue.
Has the FBI reached it back out to you? I mean, they've gone like back to Nancy Guthrie's home multiple times. We saw them looking at the septic tank over the weekend. Have they reached back out to y'all with any follow-up questions?
No, they called us a couple hours after we received the note, and they had a lot of questions. And I brought my IT team over to the phone because I couldn't answer a lot of them. They were very technical.
What is next?
Nobody got any.
Hey boy.
Harvey, thanks for joining us tonight. I've got a team full of experts here as well. Our CNN Chief Law Enforcement and Intelligence Analyst John Miller is here. Our legal analyst Joe Jackson, and also the Vice President of Intelligence at Smithsonian One, Juan Andreas Guerrero Sade, who's a cybersecurity expert for JAGS tonight. Thank you for being here. John Miller, you know, we've spoken every day since Nancy Guthrie's been missing. When you see this lengthy new FBI statement that comes out tonight, 9 days in, saying no major leads, I mean, what's your reaction when you read that statement tonight?
My reaction is that the FBI is bouncing off of Savannah Guthrie's statement to support it by saying it may appear to people who are watching this on television news that there's a ransom demand and there's a Bitcoin drop and they got this new note with special instructions and they say we got the message and we understand and then someone behind some curtain there's a smooth transfer going on of money and that Nancy Guthrie is being released and this is all happening quietly and nobody needs to get involved. The Guthrie statement and the FBI statement both say everybody needs to be on the lookout. We need those tips. We basically are saying we don't know if these people are who they say they are or if they really have her. And we don't want people who may know something, who thought they knew something, and they said, well, I'm not going to come forward because it looks like this is all working out to not come forward. And the FBI goes further. You know, they say there's one person out there who knows. And I think what they're talking about, and we find this in a lot of cases, just to close, is there's that accomplice who decided not to join the plot. There's that accomplice who didn't like it and walked off the plot. There's that girlfriend or spouse or roommate or brother who actually knows what's going on, and they are pushing them to come forward with a tip as to the who and the when and what to do.
Well, John, can I also ask you, what do you think of what Harvey just said there that, and it's still unverified, so I just want to make that clear to everyone. I know we've said that day in, day out, but just to reiterate, but when he says that it was a well-structured note that they got, good grammar, someone intelligent, he believes from reading it, and he's read it a couple times, and also that they said that she would be returned to the Tucson area within 12 hours. Do you agree that means this is someone in that 700 square mile radius, potentially?
It could be, but I mean, when you get down to the things that are closers on these deals, you know, did they come up with a proof of possession to show they really had her? If so, we haven't heard that. It doesn't mean it didn't happen. Did they proffer an actual proof of life to show that she is still alive and well and that they can produce her? We haven't heard that either. Was it a well-written note both times? Yeah, we are dealing with someone who's tech savvy, and Chad will get into that, and sophisticated, but we also may be dealing with someone who just put it through ChatGPT to make sure that it didn't have their personal touches on it to disguise it further and to make it clearer.
I had the same thought about using AI here, potentially to try to kind of remove anything on that. I mean, and Jax, to that point, I think that is the question of you know, Harvey mentioned they're monitoring the Bitcoin address that they got. He says the initial one, there's no payment been made. Just looking at all of this, what stands out to you tonight?
I mean, the difficult thing here, as you mentioned, is sort of unverified, but without seeing any movement on the Bitcoin wallets themselves, we're just sort of staring at a static target, right? If the wallet's been used before, if it has some kind of history, then we can work with that. If there's a transaction, then there's movement on the ledger and we can sort of work with some of that. But in the meantime, it's sort of staring at just a static target of not knowing just what kind of actions the criminals will take once the money hits the wall.
And there's, I mean, as you noted last week, it's not untraceable, as people might suspect. You can trace it, it's just anonymous, and you don't know who it is, it's technically running it, or to Hunter's point, there could be a new Bitcoin address that was provided in a subsequent letter.
Yeah, the difficulty here is essentially, we can see everything. The whole ledger is traceable. Difficulty is going to be determining who actually owns the wallet. And what's usually important in these investigations, my team is sensitive when we work on ransomware, what you want to see is essentially once the money gets to the criminal's account, to the wallet, how do we cash it out? They're going to need to be able to transfer that somehow into real currency. Otherwise, you know, what's the point of committing a crime? And that's usually where you see either a level of sophistication that entails that these people know how to do these movements, that they've done them before, or perhaps level of amateur.
Yeah. Joey Jackson, I mean, you look at this, it's now 4 videos that the Guthrie family has posted. Every single one of them is just difficult to watch and heartbreaking because you can hear the pain in their voice about their mom. When you look at this from your perspective, with 9 days, no suspects, no major suspects according to the FBI tonight, and now they're asking the public to please help. What does that tell you?
Oh, well, it could tell me a couple of things. The first thing it could tell me, Caitlin, is that certainly the public is a wealth of information, right? People have neighbors. We don't live in isolation. People have certain movements. We expect certain patterns from other people around us. And so certainly if you keep your ears to the pavement and you know movements, perhaps there is someone out there who could be helpful. The public, we know, is a major partner, and they essentially, in many instances, give information to law enforcement that could be really game-changing. The other thing is law enforcement not telling us everything or misleading the public in some way such that they're lulling this person or these people into a false sense of reality by giving the indication that they don't know where these people are, but potentially they may know more than they're suggesting to us. The other thing, Caitlin, is that, you know, there is reason to hope. At the end of the day, look at what they want. If the motivation is money, they know and understand, or he or she knows and understands, that in the event they do something to the mom, there will be no money. And therefore, would it not be in their interest to continue to keep her and keep her safe? And the final thing I'll say, Gabe, is that, listen, the most intelligent and the brightest amongst us make mistakes. Was there a mistake in the planning? Was there a mistake in the execution? Was there some other mishap that they can make or did make, right, that the police are onto, or that they can grab such that they can break this case open? So, you know, when I think about it, when we talk about, hey, you know, the mom needs this medication, did they plan that far out that they know this? Did they plan that far out that they have whatever life-sustaining medication she needs on hand? I don't know. But the fact is if they want $6 million, they're going to take every precaution to get it. And if they harm the mom in any way or don't keep her safe, that's a lost proposition. So that continues to give me hope that she's out there, and they just need either the public help to bring her back, or they know more and are lulling these people into a false sense or person security, and they're on their trail much more than they're leading us to believe.
Yeah. And we'll continue to follow it, obviously, closely. Thank you all for being here. And I just want to note, given these pleas, not just from Savannah, but also from the FBI, if you have any information about Nancy Guthrie's disappearance, you can call the FBI, 1-800-CALL-FBI. Tonight, as we are every single night, we are keeping the Guthrie family in our prayers. We'll continue to follow that case. And up next here also, here in Washington, I'm going to speak with a Republican lawmaker who went to the Justice Department today to see the unredacted Epstein files. You can see all the redactions here that's public, what is not public. Also, the Epstein files have been rocking, rich and powerful. One vulnerable Senate Democrat is using this moment on the campaign trail. Also later, Democrats say that the president is blocking billions of dollars for New York and New Jersey unless they put his name on a train station in an airport. New Jersey's new governor, Michael Sherrill, is going to join me ahead.
The Source with Caitlin Collins is brought to you by Vidgard Hytrulo.
I like these personalized, like my coffee. So when my doctor prescribed Vidgard Hytrulo self-injection for my generalized myasthenia gravis, we personalized my treatment goals. Vidgard Hytrulo can improve daily abilities and reduce muscle weakness.
It's my treatment, my way.
Vidgard Hytrulo for weekend away ski.
It's travel ready and can go where I go.
Self-injection fits my plans. Do not use Vidgard Hytrulo if you're allergic to its ingredients. It may increase infection risk and cause serious allergic or diffusion or injection-related reactions. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, fever, recent or planned vaccinations, allergy history, or kidney problems. Most common side effects include respiratory and urinary tract infections, headache, and injection site reactions.
My Vidgard Hytrulo self-injection.
Reducing my symptoms. That's treatment? My way. Ask your neurologist about Vidgard Hytrulo. I always thought I was just bad at money, but it turned out I didn't have a money problem. I just had a clarity problem. Monarch showed me exactly where my money was going, and it already saved like $200 this month. If you want a full picture of your finances too, start your free trial at monarch.com. To remind you that 60% of sales on Amazon come from independent sellers, Jess from Planetary Design will pour 60 cups of coffee for 60 adventurers.
Shoot lost count.
Shop small business on Amazon. To remind you that 60% of sales on Amazon come from independent sellers, John from Bluehorn Beeswax will light 60 candles for Mark and Ethel's 60th wedding anniversary.
Marv? Ethel?
Shop small business on Amazon.
Jardiance plays a role in my story too. I have type 2 diabetes, but I manage it well with Jardiance. Once daily pill that helps lower my A1C. It works 24/7 in the body to flush out some sugar.
After it helps with type 2 diabetes and no heart disease, Jardiance can lower the risk of cardiovascular death too.
Serious side effects include increased ketones in blood or urine and infection between and around the anus and genitals. Both may be fatal. Severe allergic reactions, dehydration, urinary tract or genital yeast infections in men and women, and low blood sugar. Stop taking and tell your doctor right away if you have nausea, vomiting, stomach pain, tiredness, rash, swelling, trouble breathing or swallowing. Tell your doctor about lightheadedness, weakness, fever, pain, tenderness, redness, or swelling between the anus and genitals. You may have increased risk for lower limb loss. Call your doctor right away if you have new pain or tenderness, sores, ulcers, or infection in your legs or feet.
Jardiance is a little pill with a big story to tell.
If you ask me, it's pretty swell.
Taxes was chasing updates. Now Taxes is a TurboTax expert, doing it all for you. So you can chase this week. Now this is Taxes. Intimate TurboTax.
OCD is more than what you see on TV and in the movies. It comes with unrelenting, intrusive images, thoughts, and urges. If you have OCD and need help, you can get better with specialized treatment. Go to nocd.com to learn more.
Don't relax. Dr. Liquid Gel with Liquid Core reactivates your natural gut rhythm overnight for relief that feels amazing. Dr. Liquid Gel.
With Xfinity, you're not just a customer anymore. You're a member. And members get more. No sign-ups, no extra fees. Unlock exclusives from our friends at Universal, NBC, and Peacock. Plus discounts on entertainment, gaming perks, mobile offers, and more. Check the Xfinity app and let the benefits begin. Xfinity. Imagine that.
Over the course of the last 4 years, I never had an opportunity to speak about this in public before.
Disaster. The Chernobyl meltdown, March 1st on CNN and next day on the CNN app.
An attempt by Congress to depose Ghislaine Maxwell under oath went nowhere fast on Capitol Hill today. That's because Maxwell's virtual deposition before the House Oversight Committee ended, unsurprisingly, with her pleading the fifth.
I therefore invoke my right to silence under the Fifth Amendment to the U.S. Constitution. I invoke my Fifth Amendment right to silence. I invoke my Fifth Amendment right to silence. I invoke my Fifth Amendment right to silence. I invoke my Fifth Amendment right to silence.
Now, Maxwell's attorney, David Marcus, did say that she would speak if granted clemency by President Trump, while dangling the possibility of clearing both President Trump and President Bill Clinton. While that was playing out today on the Hill, it was also the first day here in Washington for lawmakers to be able to see the unredacted files, what the Justice Department did not put out as a result of the disclosures following that law that the president signed. Keep in mind, when you look through what the public can see, there's a lot of black ink, as you can see here. This is just one section of the files that were released back in December by the Justice Department. In some cases, page after page are fully redacted and hidden from the public. Not always a good explanation as to why. In some cases, the DOJ said it was to protect victims or survivors. With some members going in to visit the Justice Department, though, to see what is behind those blacked out pages. At least a few Democrats, as they came out, said they saw this.
Donald Trump's name is all over these files. All over it. Thousands and thousands of pages.
But there are clearly co-conspirators in here that they can make. Okay, I mean, in the documents I saw, we got pictures and their names. They're talking about sourcing girls.
One Republican who saw those unredacted files today is one of the lawmakers who actually wrote the law forcing their release ultimately. Kentucky Congressman Thomas Massey is my next source here tonight. And thank you, sir, for being here. That was Jimmy Raskin and Jared Moskowitz's takeaway. Obviously, we already knew Trump's name was mentioned in the files. You can see that publicly. What was your takeaway from what you saw behind there?
Well, Jared is right. The co-conspirators named in the files have been redacted. And so I was surprised to find the names of 6 men in there. One is a Sultan. He may not be a co-conspirator, and he said the torture victim. Another is Heiko Fuss, retired, who was listed as a co-conspirator, literally listed as a co-conspirator in FBI documents. And he had been redacted. His picture and his name. And then there were 4 men that had been listed 20, that includes Ghislaine Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein, and some victims. And I was able to find those victims. So 6 names in there, master of the DOJ, and 2 unredacted.
So you had said that on Twitter. Todd Plant, who's the Deputy Attorney General on the Sultan part, responded tonight and said, he quote tweeted you and said, you looked at the document, you know it's a email address that's redacted. The law requires redactions for personally identifiable information, including the email address. And he said Sultan's name is available unredacted files. He says, be honest and stop grandstanding.
No, they redacted the email. Now, maybe a mistake on their part, or maybe they didn't intend to redact the Sultan's involvement in this torture video, but it is the Sultan's email. And then I put the Sultan's email back into their computer and found the Sultan's name. This is something you can't do at home. You can't do on the internet. And so I had to go in there and find it. This is an example of something, maybe it wasn't intentional on their part. I'd like to hear his take on the redaction of the CEO, listed as a co-conspirator in the 2019 child sex trafficking case.
So can I ask you, because, and I want to ask you, this is the same person, Todd Bland also said about that site, the document you're citing there has victim names in it.
Right.
So that's why there are redactions. He said, we have just unredacted Les Wexner's name from this document, but his name already appears in the file thousands of other times, and he says the Justice Department is hiding them. Is that the retired CEO that you're referencing?
It is. You unredacted the fact that I found it. That's a problem. And I'm glad they admitted they made a mistake by redacting it.
So you're saying it was redacted when you went in there today, and after you tweeted that, they unredacted it?
Right. Now he's got 4 other names in this unredacted. He responded to that. There's a list of 20 people. There's 4 men in there unredacted. Here's another trouble thing.
Can you say who those 4 men are tonight?
I don't think they're well known, and so if I did, it wouldn't matter, but I could probably see them on the floor of the House, but I'll give the DOJ a chance to do what they did in these two examples, where discovered something, now they responded. I want to give them a chance to respond and unredact those things. But here's another big problem that I discovered. Those big black screens of complete redactions, you go in there and look on the computer, sometimes you lift up the black ink, and there's white ink redacted files. And so when we asked the people in the room who weren't responsible for redactions, they said, oh, we think those are how the files were given to us. Now those are 302 forms that came from the FBI. From the FBI, correct, witness interview forms, which would have the names of people who are implicated in the crimes by the witnesses and the victims. We can't see those. Now, the DOJ can say, well, this is how the FBI gave those to us. Here's the problem. The legislation that goes on it, I wrote, makes the DOJ responsible for producing the documents, but it compels the FBI and U.S. Attorney Generals to turn over those documents. So they don't have the authority to just make random redactions. Here's another problem with redactions. You know, the DOJ put up files, and then they pulled them back down. And in December, they pulled it back down, redacted a little bit, back up. Well, this latest tranche, they pulled files in. We haven't pulled it back up. And when I go on the computers, I can't see the files they pulled down. I have hard copies from where they were up on the
But they're not even available currently to you from what you can see.
As far as I can tell.
And you don't know what that is?
I have no idea what it is. And I would hope when I go back to the DOJ tomorrow, they'll make those files available.
Well, you mentioned that you may be able to say these names on the House floor. For people who don't know, that's because you're protected by law basically that provides immunity to representatives and senators for things that you say in the legislative sphere, for those actions. Are you willing to say those names on the floor?
Oh, absolutely. That would serve as survivors. Survivors want me to, I'll do it. But in the meantime, this is the kind of progress that we need the DOJ to admit that these men were listed as co-conspirators in their own files, and then to release their own files, which it looks like Todd Blanche just did tonight. He admitted that, and this is a very significant admission at this point, because you have the FBI director, Cash Patel, who came to Congress and told us there was nothing in these files that implicates any other member in sex trafficking of minors. Yet, we've got a document now that Todd Blanche just handed back to us because I found it, that shows that Lex Wexner was a co-conspirator, according to the FBI, in 2019 when Trump was president.
And he's the former CEO of Victoria's Secret, that was known to have been in Epstein circle. At that moment, when Cash Patel testified previously, he said they uncovered no credible information on Epstein trafficking underage girls to anyone besides himself. I want to play that moment of when he testified.
Who, if anyone, did Epstein traffic these young women to besides himself?
Himself, there is no credible information. None. If there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. And the information we have, again, is limited.
So the answer is no one?
I'm asking you, in that stuff, there's nothing that's related to any other sex traffic, any other people engaged with Epstein in underage sex.
That's correct, to my knowledge, no.
Given what you saw today, does that testimony ring true to you still?
No, the FBI's own documents from 2019 list Leslie Wexner as a co-conspirator, child sex trafficking case. So, you know, they've got some explaining to do.
Does that mean you think Cash Patel murdered himself?
You know, I thought when he said that, maybe the trick he's using in his mind is that, well, he's considering that prostitution, and maybe what they have is evidence of sex trafficking of people who weren't minors. But what we see tonight is the charge that Lex Wexner was a co-conspirator to was child sex trafficking, and it's on the FBI's own documents from 2019.
So you're saying that should be investigated?
It should absolutely be investigated. The other problem, what Cash Patel said there, we've got, I believe his name's Leon Black, is implicated in these files too, as somebody that, and these are the attorneys at DOJ and in the New York courts who were referencing a case on Black to the DOJ, they say that Epstein trafficked women to black.
The Justice Department previously said we did not redact any names of men, only female victims. You're saying you saw men's names redacted today, though?
I did. I saw 4 in a list of 20. The other people on the list were Maxwell, Epstein, and mostly survivors that I recognized. And then 4 men who weren't trafficked because their date of birth predates 1970. Like they were all born in the 60s.
And you see no reason why those men's names are redacted in these files?
No, unless they were in some random lineup. But this requires the DOJ to respond to it, just like they responded to my 2 tweets tonight about Sultan, who had heretofore not been known, and about Lex Wessner, who is in the files listed as a co-conspirator on the file that they unredacted tonight.
And you're going back tomorrow to view more documents, is that correct?
You know, if I can look at 40 documents and find 6 men, I'm going to go back and look at more of these women's documents.
Congressman Thomas Massey, please give us updated on what you see.
Thanks, Kate.
Thanks for your time tonight. Up next, a Senate Democrat is also talking about what he calls the Epstein class and accusing the administration of corruption.
Now, you remember, we were told that MAGA was for working class America. You remember that? But this is a government of, by, and for the ultra-rich.
I'm Boomer Esiason. The best time to protect your family is before you need to. I lost my mom as a kid, and we didn't have that safety net. Ethos lets you get life insurance in minutes, 100% online, no medical exam.
Check your price today at ethos.com.
Coming to the stage this Friday, it's Ned's first team karaoke night. But he's wondering,
What if my flaky red plaque psoriasis takes center stage?
next up, we have Ned. What if Ned knew he could treat differently?
Otezla is a pill that treats plaque psoriasis even in hard-to-treat areas. You can get clearer skin and reduce itching and flaking. Doctors have been prescribing Otezla for over 10 years. Don't use Otezla if you're allergic to it. Get medical help right away if you have trouble breathing or swallowing, swelling of the face, lips, tongue, throat, or arms. Severe diarrhea, nausea, or vomiting, depression, suicidal thoughts, or weight loss can happen. Tell your doctor if any of these occur and if you have a history of depression or suicidal thoughts.
With Otezla, clear skin could be your gem. Live in the moment. Struggling on topicals? Ask your doctor about Otezla.
Great pair of lungs, shave about your swollen gums. You need parodontax, clinically proven to help reverse 4 signs of early gum disease. The gum experts.
You know what's all good? Zero heartburn. That's why I take Prilosec OTC. Just 1 pill a day blocks heartburn before it starts. Unlike my friends here popping antacids all day. Prilosec OTC. 1 pill, zero heartburn. All good.
What's the secret to peak health?
Going micro with Bloom.
It's designed to minimize side effects and give me real weight loss? Yes, please.
I'm doing it. I'm going micro.
Heck yeah.
Now starting at just $99. Known for sharing what you love. No one wants to be known for cancer, but a treatment can be. Keytruda is an immunotherapy known to treat cancer. FDA approved for 18 types of cancer, including certain early-stage cancers. One of those cancers is triple-negative breast cancer. Keytruda may be used with chemotherapy medicines as treatment before surgery, and then continued alone after surgery when you have early-stage breast cancer and are at high risk of it coming back.
Keytruda can cause your immune system to attack healthy parts of your body during or after treatment. This could be severe and lead to death. See your doctor right away if you have cough, shortness of breath, chest pain, diarrhea, severe stomach pain, nausea or vomiting, headache, eye problems, irregular heartbeat, extreme tiredness, constipation, dizziness or fainting, changes in appetite, thirst or urine, confusion, memory problems, persistent or severe muscle pain or weakness, muscle cramps, fever, rash, itching or flushing. There may be other side effects. Tell your doctor about all medical conditions, including immune or nervous system problems, such as Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, lupus, myasthenia gravis, or Guillain-Barré syndrome, an organ, tissue, or stem cell transplant, or receive chest radiation. Keytruda can harm your unborn baby.
See all the types of cancer Keytruda is known for at Keytruda.com and ask your doctor if Keytruda could be right for you. It's true. Keytruda.
Was one word to describe life after a car accident? Overwhelming. It's a never-ending list of to-dos, unless you call the right lawyer, then prove it.
After an accident will help relieve the stress and chaos. Call or text Siegfried and Jen.
My grandma lives at the summit. My grandma has a swing apartment. My grandma has an art studio. For art stuff, my grandma has a personal chef. My grandma has a glimmering indoor swimming pool. Booyah! Some of it says relaxing community. That gives my grandma all the luxurious fun stuff she totally deserves. I've never seen her happier, except when I visit.
Welcome to Retirement Living at the Top. Stop by anytime for a free tour.
After you've been injured in an accident, you're going to have a lot of questions.
Who pays my medical bills? Will I ever be able to work again? Who can answer all of these questions?
We can. Siegfried and Jen.
This night with Abby Phillips, 9 at 10 on CNN and watch on the CNN app.
You see the president and his family rake in billions while Americans struggle to make ends meet. Now, you remember, we were told that MAGA was for working class Americans. Remember that? But this is a government of, by, and for the ultra-rich. It is the wealthiest cabinet ever. This is the Epstein class.
That was Democratic Senator John Ossoff invoking Jeffrey Epstein as he was campaigning for re-election in his home state of Georgia this weekend. He's the only Democratic senator up for re-election in a state that the president won in 2024. He's arguably the most vulnerable Democrat in the Senate. So that message there, where he's not only leaning into affordability, but also Jeffrey Epstein here, as he's attempting to turn the president's own appeals to voters while rooting out the ruling elite on itself. Joining me tonight are my political sources, Dan Jones, who's a former Obama administration official, and David Urban, a former Trump campaign advisor. It's great to have you both here. Because, Dan, first off, I'm just curious what you make of the argument there from Senator Ossoff. Do you think that that's going to break through with voters in terms of, he's basically saying here's a permission structure for powerful people who were in Jeffrey Epstein's circles?
But I think it's a powerful line of argument. I do think that Donald Trump is assuming that nobody's going to notice that he's making billions of dollars, that he has all these billionaires in his cabinet, all this permission structure for data centers across the world that turn billionaires into trillionaires and drive everybody's energy costs up. I think MAGA is very vulnerable now. And it looks, but by the way, this whole Epstein thing is so disgusting because it looks like there's a system where there are no rules for the rich and no rights for the poor. There are people who are in jail doing 10 years, 20 years, 30 years for way less than the stuff that's coming out now. And somehow these people are still walking around with their yachts and stuff like that. So I think it's a very strong argument for him to make, and I hope other Democrats make it as well.
Well, and David, I mean, obviously people could say, well, the Epstein class includes Bill Clinton as well, as Republicans are trying to get him to testify about, why he's in the pictures that have surfaced as well. He's denied wrongdoing. But when you hear what Thomas Massey was just saying there, the Justice Department unredacted one person's name, Les Wexner, after he asked why it was redacted in a certain document today. I mean, what do you think people think about how the Trump Justice Department has handled the revelation of these files?
Caitlin, I do agree with Dan that more disclosure is needed. People need to be brought to justice in this case. There is a morass that it's hard to unwind millions and millions of documents. But what is clear by some of these documents that have come out recently is that Donald Trump, as early as 2006, informed the police department that he thought Jeffrey Epstein was a bad seed and that Ghislaine Maxwell was evil. He's on record in these files saying that. One of the victims' lawyers early on in 2009 said that Donald Trump was one of the only people that cooperated without a subpoena when he was investigating and trying to get to the bottom of some of these things. So what should be clear to Americans, and it is not perhaps because of this, how it's convoluted, and you hear from people like Senator Ossoff, is that Donald Trump was at the forefront of calling out Jeffrey Epstein. He's banned from his is Mar-a-Lago State. But I agree with you. We need to get to the bottom of this. It is, you know, I've said this over and over, Caitlin. I don't know why they don't bring the entire Southern District of Florida in and put them on the stand in Congress and ask them exactly what happened, why they cut a sweetheart deal, why these names are redacted, why we don't know who these co-conspirators are. That should all be out there.
Well, I mean, Dan, obviously on that front, Trump has denied knowing anything about Epstein's wrongdoing, but the fallout of this is so widespread. Speaking of Trump's cabinet, people like Thomas Massey are saying Howard Lutnick, the Commerce Secretary, should resign because he said before, we didn't have any contact after 2005, we thought it was creepy. Emails showed they were in contact after that. Not that there was any wrongdoing, but they were in contact. Chapel Roan, the singer, says tonight she has parted ways with her agency because the CEO, Casey Wasserman, was found to have emails between him and Ghislaine Maxwell. She said today, as of today, I'm no longer represented by Wasserman, the talent agency led by Casey Wasserman. Chapel Roan says, I hold my team to the highest standards and have a duty to protect them as well. And she says, no artist, agent, or employee should ever be expected to defend or overlook actions that conflict so deeply with our own moral values. I wonder what you
Well, I mean, it's huge. And by the way, even in the UK, I mean, this may actually bring down